So instead, we're going to talk about Taylor Swift's reputation.
We're finally here. We are finally at the Reputation episode, long overdue.
Kanye
Who's
West
Kim?
is
Who's Kanye?
on TikTok ranting and raving about how Twix is making the candy bars bigger so that people get fat. That's what he's talking about.
Can we? I don't know what I want to do. Like, if I want to like serve or if I want to smile. So can we do both? And she was like, "We can do one. Why don't we combine the two?" But it was the way that she looked at me and knew exactly what I was doing. And she was like, "We can do one."
So instead, we're going to talk about Taylor Swift's reputation.
Welcome back to the Evolution of a Snake. I'm Zach.
And I'm Madeline.
And here on the Evolution of a Snake, we like to take a critical lens at the life and times of a musically proficient cobra, going day by day, year by year through Taylor Swift's storied, hallowed music career.
We met on Tumblr when we were kids, and we decided to maximize our joint slay and our shared encyclopedic knowledge of Taylor Swift by creating the Taylor Swift podcast.
That's the Taylor Swift podcast. It's just BTW.
That's
FYI.
the to you.
And this is 2017, part 2. Perhaps our juiciest and most convoluted episode yet. We have 25 pages of notes to get through. Madeline, if you had to describe this year in one word, what would you choose? You always forget this question is coming.
Silence. Cricket. Let's see. How would I describe this year in one word? Let me reflect. 2017. Okay.
Well, this last part
transformative. I'm saying it. Transformative.
Okay, transformative. That's a good one.
Anybody have anything?
I was gonna say controversial.
Oh, interesting. Transformative.
And they both work.
So instead, we're going to talk about Taylor Swift's reputation. I love to do that. That's like my favorite thing in the world.
We're finally here. We are finally at the Reputation episode, long overdue. We went back and forth about whether we were going to analyze in depth the album here, but I think we're going to save that for our Reputation Taylor's version episode, which is probably coming sooner than you think because we know it's imminent. Debutation truthers, we're here. We're ready.
We're here. We're ready to
We're
ride.
accounted for. Madeline is the number one debutation truther at this point.
Let me be clear by what I personally mean by debutation. What I want is a double release. I want them out.
Yes.
I want it over. I want to rock. I want to dance. I want to clap. I want to cheer. I want this whole thing to be over, and I want to move on. That's what I want. That is what I want.
I respect you on your journey for that, but I somehow have the feeling she's not going to let that happen.
No, she loves to milk. She's a milker.
Yep. She's milked it this far. She might as well keep going. So before any of the exciting stuff happens, we are still firmly in the Taylor Swift think piece era. And the latest scandal and accusation, kind of, I think where we left off was maybe around August, which is kind of where we are again. So this accusation is that she is and this is one of the craziest ones of her entire career, a neo-Nazi or a far-right sympathizer. The Daily Beast wrote an article titled, "It's time for Taylor Swift to denounce her neo-Nazi admirers." I would argue that it's time for everyone to denounce their neo-Nazi admirers as and when they appear. You know, Taylor Swift is not special in that regard. But the context is, in 2016, a neo-Nazi gave an interview to Broadly explaining why Taylor Swift is their Aryan goddess. Why Broadly chose to platform a neo-Nazi to say this nonsense, I don't know. Why are we calling up the neo-Nazis and saying, what do you think about Taylor Swift? That's how bad it was.
That's a very good question.
We need an answer. How bad. We need to know.
Yep.
We need to know. So I don't also know why Taylor Swift then has to be automatically responsible for refuting it when it's their fault for putting, like, no one asked. Literally, who asked? No one. But here's what they said. This is what the neo-Nazis said. Firstly, this is so stupid. Firstly, Taylor Swift is a pure Aryan goddess, like something out of classical Greek poetry. Athena reborn. Now, I can't argue with that. She is a classical Greek poetry Athena reborn goddess, but she's not an Aryan goddess. We can refute that. We can refute that.
It's refuted. It's refuted.
Refuted on the record today. That's the most important thing. It is also an established fact that Taylor Swift is secretly a Nazi and is simply waiting for the time when Donald Trump makes it safe for her to come out and announce her Aryan agenda to the world. Probably she will be betrothed to Trump's son and they will be crowned American royalty. Can you imagine Taylor Swift, Donald Trump Jr.?
I'm obsessed with probably she will be betrothed to Trump's son. It's like, oh,
that's
probably.
Where you're hedging your bets. But certainly she's secretly a neo-Nazi. Probably she's betrothed to Donald Trump Jr. I mean, It is asinine and crazy. This is really, really crazy. And I think it's unfair that the burden was placed upon her. And we're starting out with this off the top because we circle back around to it later after Reputation comes out. Amy Zimmerman, another journalist, makes this point. In the past, Swift has scrupulously avoided any sort of political statement. She expresses her feminism through sanitized non-statements like, I'm proud to be a woman today and every day. That is actually a very funny statement when you just
you just put it that way.
Like that.
It's very
I am
dumb.
proud to be a human today and every day.
Today and every day.
Not only did she refuse to endorse a presidential candidate, she wouldn't even denounce the candidate who was accused of serial sexual assault, given Swift's history of failing to do the bare minimum and her past swastika mini scandal. It's unlikely that she'll make an anti-Nazi statement. I think it's important to put on the record here that if you're not familiar with what that past swastika mini scandal was, it was a picture of Taylor with someone at a party in white where they were all painting on each other's shirts, and the person she was standing with had a swastika painted on their shirt. I can 100% with confidence tell you that she had no idea that was on their shirt. It was like a dark room. It was like a neon backlit party. Like, there is slim to no chance that she actually realized who she was taking a picture with. And also, I don't remember this being a mini scandal. I remember it coming up again later. Do you remember this?
I remember it. And what I most remember is that it was, in fact, Katy Perry's birthday party, which I feel like is the most important detail of them all.
The voodoo.
It is
Katy
the
voodoo.
the Perry voodoo. I saw somebody bring this up last week. I just saw somebody bring this up again, and I was like, I thought we had established that this was stupid. If you bring it up, you're grasping at straws. And number three, I know that we're not going to take any pointers from a guy who painted a swastika on his shirt at Katy Perry's birthday party, but he was like, we didn't say anything about the swastika. I didn't mention the swastika. It was a stupid joke. I asked her for a picture. She said sure, and we went our separate ways. So it's like...
Again... Taylor Swift is the lightning rod, the punching bag. At this point, there is literally nothing that she can do or say that will stop this from happening. Hence, the emergence of Reputation. No one is expecting Taylor Swift to go on the campaign trail for Kamala Harris. So funny to hear that in hindsight. Or exhibit a working knowledge of intersectionality just to condemn the neo-Nazi community that's already claimed her as one of their own. Say it after me, Tay-Tay. I, Taylor Swift, denounce Nazis, and I am not attracted to Eric Trump.
She should have said that. We need to hear that. We need to hear I am not attracted to Eric Trump.
Let's get the AI up in here and get her to say that. Can we get the AI to do this, please? Now, this is not directly relevant to what's about to happen, but we do circle back to it later because it is the most bizarre and I think unfair accusation that's ever stuck to her during this time. Do you think there's an accusation, Madeline, that was like worse than this one or more unfair?
This one is definitely the worst because it's so unfounded. It's based in absolutely nothing other than she looks like the way we want people to look. And I mean, is that her fault that she happens to look like somebody that Hitler would have said, I like the way she looks? I don't, it's based in nothing. So that's why I think it's probably one of the stupidest things I've ever heard in my life.
And again, why are we, the credible, alleged mainstream media, platforming a neo-Nazi and then taking his accusations seriously? It's almost as crazy as publishing an op-ed about Gaylerism in the New York Times. Well, neither here nor there.
I was thinking about a lot of the language that, like, I know this is like I'm not comparing Gaylerism to neo-Nazism. I want to be very, very clear. But a lot of the, like, conspiracy theory language that's like
false pattern recognition,
going to come out soon and say, and like this, that, and the other thing, and like, oh, it's probably she's going to do this, and it's already been established that she is gay among her queer fans. It's like, well, that sounds exactly like this person saying, because it's just baseless information on...
It's a conspiracy. It is a conspiracy theory based on a predetermined false truth. And we don't stand that. So now we're in August. We're in late August. Taylor wins the sexual assault trial. We cheered. And soon after that, her entire digital footprint is wiped. This is major for a pop star known for her relatability. She is the very avatar of being a social media celebrity. The 1989 era was Instagram post every day. Here I am on the private jet. Here I am with Meredith. Here I am baking cookies. Here I am in a onesie. Here I am dressed as a bag of corn. But now everything is gone. This was devastating as a fan. All of my favorite Instagrams from over the years, we're talking what, like a 5-year period of time, blacked out. lost to the ether, seashells spilling out of the purse before red, last year of life before red post. It was a tragedy. And this was also, I believe, before Instagram introduced the archive feature. So these posts were deleted, like they are gone. How did you feel when this happened, Madeline?
I don't remember it. I literally do not remember I don't think I cared, because I was like, oh well, you know what I mean? I think the only thing that it meant was that a new era is coming. That is literally all I cared about, if I remember correctly.
That's interesting. I think my response was, I thought she was done. I was like, oh, she's finished. She like doesn't want to do this anymore. I wasn't immediately jumping to new era. I was like, oh, she's had enough. And you know what? At that time, I kind of get it.
She would have been chosen,
right. If you have to throw in the towel, then I mean, after the neo-Nazi, it's like, come on, girls, can we come up with something else?
Can we come up with something else? Yeah.
And she left. She left. Her socials remained totally blocked out, as does her website, for an entire weekend. And we were in shambles at the time. But yeah, that was my thought, was not what's coming next, but is anything coming at all? Then the Timeless domain was found. And this surely was a troll. I mean, now we know there is a song called Timeless, but this is when the conspiracies about like TS6, crazy to think about TS6 as a concept. This is when the Timeless domain came up. And then we saw these like leaked weird set pieces from an alleged music video, which turned out to be Look What You Made Me Do. Big pieces of clocks that ended up, or what looked like clocks, that ended up being part of the vaults and the Spotify robbing scene from Look What You Made Me Do. So at this point, it was like everybody was just saying anything. Mm-hmm. Really just saying anything.
Just saying anything.
Why the hell would she come out with a song called Timeless at this juncture? She was not timeless.
Well, what's interesting about the word timeless is that it just sounds like a word that she would like. And yep. I mean, can we deny it at this time? It's it's kind of like, what was another one? Roses, or like If Kisses Were Wishes.
Skyline.
Just like Skyline, like stupid shit like that. It's like, it's not Kaleidoscope. That sounds like a word that she would really like to use. So it's like, it just sounds like something a fan would make up, because it's like, this sounds credible enough. And
we were right to an extent, because Timeless, the song, exists.
It was in the vaults.
But let me tell you, she was not making a website for it. Oh, no. It was not getting a domain bought for it. Then we have, on August 21st, the shot heard around the world. We see the tail of a snake in a flickering image on her Instagram. I remember where I was. I was in Granny's house. I was at the kitchen table. It was shambles. It was terrifying. And this was a Monday, I believe, and the VMAs, where Look What You Made Me Do video would premiere, was on a Sunday. This seems like a much bigger gap of time between the post of the snake and the release of Look What You Made Me Do and the video than I remember that it was. But those like 3 days of when the snake was coming to fruition, I remember waiting for the head to appear, and it was a gag. And comments are off. Comments are off on all the posts. She's saying, you will not be speaking on my new iconic era. I am not taking feedback at this time.
I really had a life at this time. I remember where I was when the snake was a full snake, but I didn't see, like, I don't remember the first post. I remember being in the bar, and like sitting there. It was like morning, and I was at my job. I wasn't at the bar drinking at 11 in the morning. Okay, I was at my job, and I just like looked at my phone and I saw the snake, and I was pretty excited, but like I don't remember it being in pieces. I thought it all posted at once.
It happened on separate days.
I don't know. I had a job.
Which I don't know. We knew what it was from the first post. So, girl, why don't you just give it all? But it really was so monumental for the prissy, insistent queen to be reclaiming a symbol like that, because the snake truly, like, it was not funny. I can't stress to everyone that before the snake was reclaimed, like, it was not a joke. It was, I would say, the first sign of the apocalypse. It was what made her go into hiding in the first place. But this was major. It was dark. It was iconic. And after the completion of the snake, mere hours later, we get more tiles on Instagram. Reputation, the new album from Taylor Swift, out November 10th. First single out tomorrow night. And we got the album cover. Never had we at this point had an album announcement on such little warning. It might as well have been a surprise drop.
That's why I thought it was fake.
Zero communication from her.
I was at breakfast. I do remember this. I was at breakfast and eating an omelet, a veggie omelet, and hash browns, and I was like, "This is the best day of my life." Breakfast and Taylor. What can I say? And I was looking at the album cover, and I was like, That's not real. And, well.
It kind of looked fake, actually,
It
now that I
did.
think about it. It kind
Yeah.
of looked, you were like, oh, this is a troll. This is a mock-up. This is a manip, as we used to say on Tumblr. This is not real. But at this point, we hadn't had a professional shoot of her in a year, and we hadn't really seen any like high resolution pictures of her for a while, which is like a decade in pop star time. So to have this defiant image of her on the album cover, staring down her nose, head cocked, and an antagonistic look in her eye in black and white with the newspaper shift, it was a vibe shift from 1989, to say the very absolute least. You're kind of lukewarm on the cover, right?
I still don't like it to this day. But I'm here. I mean, the TV cover certainly will gag, won't it?
Well, we've seen her Pinterest board for it, so we know it's going to gag. We know it's going to gag.
I'm
but
ready.
Yeah, it was a vibe shift, to say the least. So then the Swish Swish music video comes out. The Tay Voodoo literally never stops. Like the fact that Taylor elected to drop the Look What You Made Me Do video at the VMAs that Katy Perry was hosting, and sincerely overshadowing her entire hosting gig. I mean, Tay Voodoo. She wasn't ready to let that one go.
Nope.
She was not ready to let that go. Cricket of all time. Taylor Nation tweets that Good Morning America will have a snippet of the video. So the song comes out on August 25th. Look What You Made Me Do is hands down the weirdest Taylor Swift single of all time. It's brash, it's confrontational, it's polarizing. It is the perfect beginning to this era. It also couldn't have been more contrasting to shake it off. The stark difference between the poptimism of 1989 and the snakery of Reputation is a pivot to be studied. Lover tried to replicate this contrast with the snake bursting into the butterflies, and it failed miserably. Do we view the butterfly as a symbol of the Lover era? No.
We certainly do not. She was really reaching with that one. But congratulations to her.
Congratulations to her. Yep. Nevertheless, the song itself is an electro-pop epic with a trap beat, hissing synths, and a string arrangement. It was co-written and produced by our king, Jack Antonoff. It features an interpolation of Right Said Fred's I'm Too Sexy, which was mocked mercilessly when it came out. In fact, this song was received terribly. And what's interesting when I'm doing research for the pod now is that the Taylor washing of the historical record, like painting everything in like a more positive light, looking back on it is really weird. But this song was widely mocked and considered to be a terrible song. Just look at the reaction videos from when it came out in 2017. I kind of understand why on first glance, because people really were not vibing with Taylor at the time in general. And the song definitely deviates away from her greatest skill, which is melodic confessional songwriting. It came out at like 5 a.m. in Ireland. I was still in Granny's house. I woke up to listen to it. I played it. I was in a lavender haze when I woke up. I was not fully conscious. I played like 30 seconds of it and got to the I'm Too Sexy part and was like, I'm going back to sleep. I went back to sleep and I approached it later. Do you remember what you thought when you first heard it?
I remember it all. So I was at the bar. I was like,
likely place for you to be.
I think I was 23. So yeah, I was like out at the bar, and I was like, I have to leave because I have to go home and listen to the new Taylor Swift song. Went home,
as you should,
listened to it. There were parts of it that I liked and parts of it that I didn't like. I understood immediately that I was not going to hear this once and it'd be like, I immediately get it. I understood. I was like, this is in different areas. I loved the bridge. That's what I remember the most. I kept just listening to that part over and over again. And then I went back to the bar and I was like, hey guys, who wants to hear the new Taylor Swift song?
Turn it up.
And they booed and they jeered and they said, this is awful. And I said, I'm standing behind my man 100%. This is the best song I've ever heard. Even if I didn't really think that, that is like, what I said.
It's still iconic. It's still iconic. It's so hard to separate Look What You Made Me Do the song from Look What You Made Me Do the video, because seeing the video increased my experience of it exponentially. But the old Taylor Can't Come to the Phone Right Now, that part was a gag. I was like, what do you mean? Because I like her. I want her back.
Do you remember that Perez Hilton leaked that?
No, I don't remember that.
This pissed me off because this would have been such a gag if I didn't know it was coming. He didn't say this is exactly what she says, but he says like, there's the gist of the song is the old Taylor is dead. And I was
God, I do remember this.
Yeah.
He's a flop. I'm coming for him every day for the rest of my life. And how did he know?
What did that email that you sent him say? It was like, I hope you die. This was like 13-year-old Zach or something like that. I hope you die, you piece of shit. email to Perez Hilton.
No, it was like, I'm happy that will.i.am punched you in the face, and I hope that you die. That's what the email was.
Say it again. Louder.
Say it again. Louder for the people in the back. I mean, he deserved it. And that was on behalf of Avril Lavigne, by the way. He was like saying mean things about the best damn tour. And I was like, no, you're not. No, you're not. It's the best damn tour. How dare you? But yeah, so I mean, it was a real vibe shift. To me, Reputation is her most successful trend-chasing album. It just so happens that at this period of time, pop had gotten very dark. There was a lot of R&B, hip-hop, trop pop influence on the mainstream, and Taylor took, I think, what were the best parts of that and worked it into her kind of music. This was the year of Passion Fruit by Drake, Bodak Yellow, Cardi B, which eventually dethroned Look What You Made Me Do, Despacito, Shape of You, Bad and Bougie, Starboy, Love on the Brain. It was very like atmospherically moody. And I think it was really smart for Taylor to kind of shapeshift a little bit into that sound. And I think looking back, Reputation was such a successful way of doing that because that project could have gone so wrong. And I remember thinking that Reputation would sound very dated, but I don't think it has. Some songs, maybe. Dancing with Our Hands Tied, I don't know why, stands out as a song that sounds quite dated to me, just production-wise. But otherwise, I think it's held up pretty well.
I don't know if I think any of it sounds dated. But it's hard for me to say as like a number one Swiftie. It's like I would listen to Mary's song. I don't give.
Exactly.
I
Stay
do
beautiful.
Not care.
Relevant
I don't
to me.
Care. Relevant
Not
to
dated
me
at
to
all.
this day. Yeah, I don't think I think that it's held up pretty well. I think all of her albums honestly held up pretty well. But again, who am I but the humble servant of the Swiftie?
The janitor. The janitor. Yep. Look What You Made Me Do is probably the most extreme example of the genre experimentation on the album, but it's also singular. It's unlike anything else she's ever released or anything else that has gone number one. The New Yorker described this as having an industrial sound, which I thought was a really apt way to describe the sonic palette of Reputation. It even dethroned Despacito. Thank you, God. Thank you. The reign of Despacito was like really, I couldn't. It had spent 59 weeks at number one. That's more than a year. That's more than a year.
Despacito. And I don't even really, I barely remember
I don't know the words.
it.
That's the only part I know.
Isn't it crazy? I
forget that Justin Bieber sang that. What? Why?
Yep. Oh yeah, he was there. He was there.
He was on it. He was on the song.
He was on it.
This was the third installment of her 3-album streak of going number one, with the lead single notably ended by Me. Think of what could have happened, because every other album post Lover has had a number one debut. So imagine if Cruel Summer had only been the chosen one. Then we wouldn't be in this position. This meaningless, arbitrary
spilled milk.
How dare her? How dare her not do this? So a fun fact is the comeback was so secret, even Right Said Fred, creators of song I'm Too Sexy, were not told who the artist was that would be interpolating their song. They were told a big pop act who hadn't released in a while would be using it, and then they signed off. Isn't that so interesting that they just said yes?
Well, they want the check, and I support it. Weren't they a one-hit wonder?
Yes, that was their one hit.
Well,
also, how did they not know, but Perez Hilton had some insider access?
Because he's a little snake rat. And when you're a little rat, you get to go into the sewer. Do you see?
Other rats find you and communicate with you in their language. But I wonder, was it not like an educated guess? Because by the time he'd said that, like Reputation, the like mood, the album had come out, right? So I guess you could just guess that. But dead is a very specific insider knowledge thing. Like we didn't know.
Oh yeah, no, he definitely. I think what he had said was he heard the song. That's what Perez Hilton said. He's like, I heard it, and the gist of it is the old Taylor's dead.
That person.
That's what he said.
Is dead. Whoever showed it to Perez Hilton, I'm telling you, is not alive anymore. They're already dead. Taylor found them. They're dead. They're gone. The voodoo stops for no one, as we know. So it's interesting to look back on the response now. Taylor fatigue had well and truly settled in, and the only way she was going to make people stop being sick of her was to make them more sick of her, but in a different way, in a different flavor. And everything about the way that Reputation was handled is so interesting in hindsight, because it was the most stressful high wire act of her career. She had a lot at stake, and she was making really experimental and potentially dangerous or alienating choices with her interactions with the media by not promoting it and becoming more adventurous with her musical style. The Guardian called the song sloppily written.
Kill yourself.
You should be dead. You should be dead. Maybe you've never been the actress starring in your bad dreams. That's literally not my problem.
Mm-hmm.
And you should keep it to yourself.
It's not my problem.
The Ringer described the public response as deeply confused and compared Taylor to Maleficent. And
like that's a bad thing, by the way.
Exactly. Like that's a powerful queen who gets what
Angelina
she wants.
Jolie.
Hello?
Angelina Jolie.
Cricket.
Heard of her?
Literally cricket. Hands on the knees. Angelina Jolie. And Pitchfork called it a hardcore self-own coming from the trolls who operate the basement in the World Trade Center.
They don't get it. They don't get it. None of these people understand it, and that's all there is to it.
And when their reputation retrospective comes out, yes, they will, and they will pretend like they never said this in the first place. But we have them on the mic.
We have it on Smack Cam.
You are on the Jumbotron, and we are flogging you. And you know what? It's very interesting how Pitchfork only deigned to review and discuss Taylor when it was either 1, to insult her with Look What You Made Me Do in Reputation, or 2, to review a male artist's cover of her work by 2017. That's where they were at with her. So, I mean, this podcast is a Pitchfork hate podcast, if you didn't know that.
We will burn the offices to the ground if it's the last thing we do. So
we are getting on a plane with Halsey.
Halsey and I, we are the hunters. They are the foxes. We are coming.
So Look What You Made Me Do is also Taylor's first single to be released on Spotify, and it breaks the record for most first day plays. No doubt this had something to do with the fact also that she'd been keeping her discography off of Spotify. She knew she was losing the streaming war, but it's interesting that she also managed to keep it up for so long. And also a real sign that even the most powerful celebrity can't change the industry per se. Because 1989 was all about streaming is bad, streaming is dead, I'm never letting it happen. If anyone can stop it, it's me. And then all of a sudden, here I am.
It's even like in retrospect, it's so weird to think about a time when she wasn't on streaming. It's like, what the fuck was I doing? Just ripping
I was going into
CDs?
My music app and listening, because Apple Music I think we weren't using. Were you always like an OG Apple Music user?
I used it as soon as it came out, like 2014, 2015.
But it wasn't on that either.
No, it wasn't on that. She wasn't on. I don't know what I was doing. I literally do not know. I cannot remember.
Well, also she kind of proved herself wrong. I think her deep down fear was that she would sell less records with streaming, and that really has proven not to be true. So she was fighting a war that she was never going to win, and that she had already won. So why? The song debuted atop the Billboard Hot 100 in the US and marked the highest sales week of a single in 2017. It was certified 4 times platinum by the Recording Industry Association of America. Internationally, the single peaked at #1 in several countries, including Australia, g'day mate, Canada, Moose Vibes, Ireland, noted land of ours, the Philippines, Mabuhay, and the United Kingdom. Hello, governor.
Jeez. Now, that has got to be the dorkiest thing you have ever done on the Evolution of a Snake podcast. I'm sitting here in awe of what just happened.
$8,000 for your face. What can I say?
I loved it.
It was a show. I speak the language of the people.
He does.
How? I'm international.
Yep, I'm international.
Worldwide, as Candy Burris would say.
Yep.
How did the fans respond? Well, it was kind of crickets. It truly is one of those songs that is completely inseparable from the visuals, so it didn't click for a lot of people until then. But I think when the music video came out, everybody came around. That's what I remember, at least. Do you think the same?
I think exactly the same thing. The music video was so good that it changed people's minds, hearts, and bodies and souls.
Honestly, it created a new world. The world was different. There was a brave new world charted by a hissing snake. Mm-hmm. So Good Morning America airs the most iconic teaser of all time. Like, it doesn't give much away about the video, but it has these scandalous stills of the most iconic moments. So like the phone, the jewels, and it literally is just like, boom, look what you made me do. Then it has the date. I mean, she's chowing down on the diamonds. She's swinging around in that cage. She's strutting with her contour on. To say we were in shambles is really not even cutting it. And the teaser was immediately critiqued for ripping off Beyonce for the Formation video. Ridiculous.
I missed all of this. I don't even remember the teaser. I didn't see it until after the fact.
It's iconic. It really is. You should go watch it because
I've seen it. No, I've seen it. I haven't seen it. I just didn't see it like at the time. I didn't see it until after I'd already seen the video. So I didn't. I
It
wish
didn't
I could.
impact you. Mad Lam's
No,
having a
it
life.
embrace for impact.
I can't
Yeah,
relate. I didn't have one at this time.
It's kind of strange, just like thinking about this and being like, I don't remember that. I don't remember that.
And it's your favorite era too. Interesting.
Well, I remember everything. Well, I can't even say that because once the tour started, that's when I started dating Mason. So it's
Goodbye.
really funny. This was my
You were bigger than the whole sky, Taylor Swift.
checked out era. I was not here. I was not here.
She wasn't present. But as a scholar, you know what happened. You know what went on, even if you weren't there to fully experience it.
I've read the sacred text. You know?
I mean, we write the sacred texts. The aesthetic, I can kind of see why initially there might have been a similarity, that like gloomy color palette and the lavish sets, but that was like a sign of the times, not a specifically Beyonce thing that Taylor ripped off. And she just couldn't win at this point. So anything she did was met with pushback. So dropping Look What Made Me Do, the song and the video on the same day as Katy releasing. So Look What Made Me Do, the song comes out on the same day that Swish Swish music video comes out. And then the video for the song comes out the day that Katy Perry's hosting the VMAs. So another year of psychotic Tay voodoo. Everyone was talking about Taylor. There was speculation that they would make up at the VMAs. Oh no. Oh no. That hatchet had yet to be buried. And Taylor also, I think there was also speculation that she would show up at the VMAs. And she didn't. Which was very iconic in hindsight.
Oh, very iconic in hindsight. At the time, though, again, I didn't watch them live. I was not there to watch them live. I don't know what I was doing, but I wasn't. So I don't remember being upset, but I'm sure if I was there, I would have been like, she didn't go?
And they did it at the end of the show, and I was like, are they going to have Katy announce this? Because that would really be self-harm. Like, it can't be Katy being like, and here is Look What You Made Me Do.
Yeah.
It can't be that. And it wasn't that, thank God. So her website crashes, and this is when the Reputation magazines are announced. This is a further look for us at the visuals for this era. We find out that these magazines will be including handwritten lyrics, fashion portraits, behind the scenes, poetry, cricket, and paintings. And we definitely got those. These are for sure the coolest album exclusives she's ever done, in my opinion. What do you think?
I love mine. I absolutely love mine. I wish I had bought a couple of extra ones so that I could rip them up and like make collages out of them. But as it is, I only have what I have, and I'm not going to rip the ones that I have up. But I love them.
Are they difficult to come by now?
I think they are. Yeah, I think
Probably.
if you look, they are probably pretty expensive. So
the two covers are her looking over her shoulder wearing a camo jacket. Camo was also a theme that I forgot about this era. Camo was a big theme. With her natural curls, they hath returned. And the second is an iconic orange lit picture of her in an oversized hoodie, loose short shorts, and high-waisted boots. Very much of its era. This is the Mermaid Swift IG batification of Taylor Swift, done in her own way. Looking back, it doesn't feel dated, though. One might even call it timeless.
That's actually my favorite picture of Taylor of all time, is that orange backlit picture of her. I love that. And there's not enough. There's very hard to come by like high quality pictures of that exact set of that exact shoot. It's infuriating.
There's like 3 of them.
Yeah, there's
Why
like 3 of them.
Why are there not more?
Release the tapes. Release the tapes. Release the tapes.
We need a redo of at least one orange picture for the Rep TV visuals.
Well, orange was low-key like one of the colors of Reputation. I feel like that's been lost to the sands of time. But like the exclusive vinyl was orange. And I would sell my left kidney if anybody wants to buy a kidney in exchange for
I have 2. I have 2 to give away.
I'm willing to do anything. I'm willing to do absolutely anything for that orange press. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding.
How much does it cost these days?
Thousands.
Expensive?
Thousands.
Oh Lord. Thousands?
Yeah.
That's nonsense. That's literally nonsense. But I guess, that's Taylor. That's show business. That's amore. So Look What We Do video release. We used to have a monoculture. Remember that? And to me, this was one of the last moments of true mouth agape, shock, horror, awe that captured almost everyone for 3 minutes in time. It premiered live at the VMAs. And I remember I was sitting in my friend's apartment watching it happen, and I was completely and totally gagged in a way that I never have been. And I never have been since. From the opening scene of her burying herself in the Out of the Woods zombie dress to the Taylor Mountain, this was shocking. It also marked the first line in the sand between an old and a new Taylor. And looking back for some time, we were like, oh, the old Taylor isn't dead. because when she started being goofy and silly and when she came back on tour, we were like, she's not dead. But there are certain elements of pre-Reputation Taylor Swift that we are just never going to get back. And one of them was her pretending to be unaware of her stardom, breaking the fourth wall. It was Look What You Made Me Do video was the first foray into the world of intentional Easter eggs, and the first brick in the wall of Taylor that she placed herself. And it gagged us. The purpose of invoking the lure was to purposefully let us know that an older model of her, who we thought was our relatable best friend, had deceased and parted from us. Instead, we had this snarling villainess, dripping in diamonds and decked out in fur coats and fishnets, and, fully embracing her role as the antagonist. It was the Taylor Mountain, to me, was really the moment where I was like, this is a different stratosphere.
Well, that was a collapse. That was an utter and complete collapse. I remember exactly where I was. I was once again at the bar, but I was at work. I was at work. It gagged me to a degree that I don't think there are words for. I was like speechless because it's hard for people who weren't like in the fandom before Reputation to fully understand. Like, she would have never done something like that. She would have never so directly called people out, like at the end of the music video when she's doing all those jokes and stuff. She would have never behaved like this or like leaned in and like acknowledged what people said about her to that degree. And it was a gag. It was
a gag.
It was kind of like, I don't want to say the first time she really, really stood up for herself, but it's the time that was the most radical, I think, up to that point, where she was just like, I'm so sick of this shit. Because before she was always being nice and like laughing at the bad jokes and like
or trying
smiling
to prove the criticism wrong.
Yeah,
whereas
exactly.
This time it was like, you're being ridiculous and I can't win, so
Right.
I'm gonna lean in instead of pushing back. I'm just gonna lean in, which was really cool. And also, she, in prior eras, once one album cycle was done, it was done. There was no like, she was like, I'm on to the next thing and it's so much better. And she would very rarely like reference her past selves. So that's why it was so shocking to see Fearless Taylor again with her guitar.
Yes.
And I was like, oh my God, there are the Taylors I know and love. And then
and
she
dead.
murdered them, massacred, killed them. I was like, oh no. Oh no, who's this girl? Her public persona has always been about like being good and righteous, and even when she was losing her firm grasp on the narrative with the Kim Ye phone call, she still tried to scold the public back into submission. I'd like to be excused from this narrative. Heard of the Notes app apology? Routinely mocked by Taylor herself in this video, it showed a self-awareness that honestly saved her career. Trying to micromanage what other people say about her is a losing game, and to a certain extent, she just gave up and accepted that you can't make everyone love you. Play to your strengths, play to your audience. Reputation was in essence like truly for the fans because of how off-putting it was to the casual listener and the fan of a sunnier, more innocent Taylor Swift. And I definitely remember feeling like this is for the girls.
It was so clear to me too that it was for the girls, just because like to reference Fearless Taylor and Speak Now Taylor and Red Taylor, those specific things that only a Swiftie would know, I was like, this is for the girls. This is for the girls. The other
She's trying to tell
never
us
get
something.
Yeah,
and
us.
What is
Not
the
them.
fucking message?
Not them.
Not them.
Us.
It's not for the rats. This wasn't for
No.
the sewer rats.
No.
This was to piss them off, and it
Yep.
worked. It really did work.
It did.
So pre-production for Look What You Made Me Do started in January 2017, right around when the I Don't Want to Live Forever music video was being filmed, which is interesting because I think that those two videos definitely share like a visual DNA, like with the color palettes, etc. And the video itself was filmed in May, and editing and post-production took place until the night before its release. And this is a way that Joseph Kahn works. He literally is like making like arrangements for the video, adjustments, whatever he's doing, right up until the very last moment. I remember at the secret session when we saw the cut of the Ready For It music video, she was like, it's supposed to come out in 2 days, and I'm sure it will be different than what you're seeing right now because I never know what this man is going to do. And to be honest, I know that Joseph Kahn is a controversial figure, but he is an iconic music video director who's done incredible work beyond Taylor, notably for Stronger by Britney Spears. Do you remember that video where she's like dancing and battling the chair?
Well, notably for Everybody Backstreet's Back by the Backstreet Boys. Most notably to me.
I think he did Toxic too, another iconic music video. Like, she called in the big guns for this. And he was also known for his like special effects work, I think, which he hadn't really dabbled with before other than In Blank Space, which was also directed by Joseph Kahn. What you can tell, first of all, right off the bat from this video is that it was really expensive. Multiple elaborate sets with complex graphics and CGI. The level of detail, like CGI detail, especially in the snake throne scene alone, I think is very impressive. Lots of green screen use, and also the first officially choreographed dance sequence in a Taylor Swift music video, unless you count the cheerleader segment in Shake It Off, but I don't.
We don't.
That was not a bootsing the way that she bootsed here.
No.
And she killed this choreography.
Yeah,
Sorry.
sure.
Ate it the up. Ate it up.
Ate it up.
So let's walk through the video. Graveyard scene. Here lies Taylor Swift's reputation on the tombstone next to Nils Soberg, noted pseudonym. Zombie Taylor appears wearing the Out of the Woods music video dress, our last official canonical release from Taylor's solo efforts before the old Taylor was scalped. Scary face makeup. This was like actually scary. This was not like cute, campy Halloween vibe. It was like, I am a dead person. And I was frightened by that. I was scared. She is then seen to be wearing the 2014 Met Gala Taylor, and this is always read to me as the funeral for America's sweetheart, the woman who is expected to contain all the positive expectations of the modern American woman while denying her full personhood. Who said that a sweetheart can't have a little villain in her too?
Taylor said it. She killed her. Taylor said, "No, I don't want this bitch inside me anymore. Get her out.
Okay.
She's done.
Goodbye." That big bow walking across the street to shake hands with a police officer. Goodbye.
Oh, to shake hands with is that the first image that comes to my mind too? Is her walking across to shake the hand of the police officer.
Thank you so much for your service.
Yeah. I like this I like your read that she's burying America's sweetheart. I think when I did my Look What You Made Me Do video analysis, I think I said that she thought that the Met Gala look, that was like the last time she remembered being beloved. That's what it was like, just like that everybody loved her and she felt like so important and this, that, and the other thing, and she's shaking hands with the cop across the street and et cetera, et cetera. And I thought that was like so interesting. It's like she's burying America's sweetheart and she's burying the person that everybody wanted her to be, and she's just getting rid of her because she can't even stand the sight of her anymore. And you know what?
Freeing herself of the pressure of that.
Exactly.
Because
yeah.
To have effusive praise is great, but I think, and she did mention this subsequently, like even at the end of 1989, before Reputation, she was kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop, and it dropped.
Yes. Oh, it dropped hard.
It dropped, kicked her in the
Huh?
Then we get into the bathtub scene. I think this is probably one of the looks she's ever served. She's in a gilded bathtub. Most iconic moment. The makeup here, stunning. Glossy, high shine red lip, intense smoky winged out eyeliner. That's a Mad Lizard eye look.
Oh, it is. And I cheered and I clapped. And I smiled.
You clapped and cheered. And she's, of course, dripping in real diamonds that were worth $10 million. They were so expensive that there was extra security on set just for the diamonds. And we can see a $1 bill floating in the bathtub referencing her sexual assault trial triumph. And when she chomps down on those diamonds, my heart stopped. Also, she's wearing extremely nails. Like,
everything about it. I love the hair too. The hair look is particularly good. Do you know the picture that's in the Rep magazine?
I know
that's
exactly what you're talking about. Where she's just like a shawl on, she's wearing a necklace.
Such a good picture.
Her highlight,
she looks like she just killed her husband. That's what it looks like. Yeah,
and she did.
I love it. And she did.
And she absolutely did. It was giving, this is the Taylor Swift that you don't know and love. This is someone new. Then we get into the throne. I hate the hair in this scene. Can I just say, I don't like her hair slicked back. I also hate her hair in the Taylor Mountain scene. Despise that look.
Oh, delete. I'm not. No, you're gone. Bye.
You were like, I'm with you. You're dead. You're done. That's it. We didn't do it, Joe. So she's sitting atop a gorgeous golden throne, and there are inscriptions of Et tu, Brute, signaling loss. So good. Such a good detail.
I love it so much. Everything about it.
So good. So this signals the loss of her many fair weather friends, fakes, during the cancellation, and there are snakes abound. Snakes everywhere, all over the place. Something that really bothers me here and takes me out of the video every time I see it is there's an editing glitch where she goes to hold the cup of tea and the tea gets poured in it, but the position is just awkward and weird. Like it's not cut well enough. And I'm like, Joseph Kahn, if you're making edits up until the day before the video, why did you leave that in?
Hello. You should call him up. I got a bone to pick.
That.
Yeah.
It's time to fix it. Let's fix it. It is unbelievably iconic. She's fully reclaiming the snake here. The snakes are pouring her tea. And I think the tea is kind of like a motif for the shade room, the receipt culture that was really a contributing factor in her downfall. This like relentless appetite people had for drama. And we still have that now, but I remember in 2017, it was so much worse. It was so much more like receipts and exposing and like canceling. Like that's really when this started.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And it is interesting how over time exposing has become less dramatic, and one expose doesn't have the same kind of control that it did back then. Back then it was like one instance of you caught slipping looking bad, hate train,
You were
6
over.
months.
You were over.
Everyone hates you.
Yep.
And I wonder if this happened now, would the response be the same? I don't think so. Too powerful.
No, this was most importantly, this was during a time when Kanye West was seen as like the visionary and the genius, and Kim Kardashian was the icon, the fashion icon, the style icon, and them together was the ultimate power couple. And that's why they had the ability to absolutely shit on America's Sweetheart the way that they did. They just absolutely ate her up. Now,
well, they learned their lesson.
Kanye
who's
West
Kim? Who's Kanye?
Is on TikTok ranting and raving about how Twix is making the candy bars bigger so that people get fat. That's what he's talking about. And nobody clapped, and
nobody's clapping.
Nope.
As Lana Del Rey said, Kanye West is blonde and gone. He's gone.
Yep.
Then we get into the car crash scene. This and the plane scene are the two most mysterious moments to me, and they could mean many things. First of all, the way that it's shot in slow motion is really cool, and the styling is crazy here. Like her hair is insane. There's a leopard involved. There's a Grammy inside the car. It's iconic.
I'm like,
I can see you literally like jittering.
The car crash scene is my favorite. It's my favorite. And I didn't understand it for a long time, but then I don't know if this is right or wrong. I'm just saying this is the Lizard review and interpretation of what it is. So I thought that she crashes the car and then she's holding the Grammy as people are taking pictures of her in the car wreck. And I always thought that meant people thinking that she uses her disasters and her ups and her failures in relationships to create music, and like, oh, I just fucked up so bad and here's my Grammy.
Ooh, that's such
like
an interesting read.
Or like tapping into like the pop icon like Lindsay Lohan. Oh, I'm wasted outside the club, take my picture, aren't I so glamorous? Like that kind of a thing. Do you know what I mean?
Also a commentary on celebrity culture in general.
I love
so
it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
My read was that crashing into the lamppost was like the intentional derailing of her career when she reached that Grammy Album of the Year peak and she realized there was no one around to celebrate it with. And then she was like, well, what the hell we gonna do now? And all the paparazzi care about in this image is photographing the crash and like dehumanizing her. I really think this was a Princess Diana reference, like whether consciously or not. Interesting.
I love. I like that too. I like that a lot.
This is the one time where Easter egg analysis is like interesting to me because
it.
there's so much going on, and look what you made me do.
I love it.
So we get into the birdcage. Many of the metaphors here are about feeling trapped, watched, and exploited. There's no better metaphor for this than a gilded cage, a beautiful fancy prison of your own making. And she's in a giant birdcage eating lobster and feeling locked up and serving in an orange jumpsuit. Prisoner, but make it fashion.
Prisoner, but make it. And she's wearing that the orange and the big like glamazon beauty queen hair.
Oh,
I like it when she stabs the lobster too. She stabs the lobster.
Locked me out and threw a feast. I need the return of those curls.
Do you know
whoever styled this video? Can we get them back?
Exactly. How do we get those on the red carpet? I'm asking.
I need to know. I literally need to know.
I need to know.
Then we get into the streaming robbery scene. This is where she wears the Blind for Love. She wore a lot of Gucci, that very like 2017, which does look dated now, but is iconic.
Oh, not to me. Oh, no.
Not to you. Not to you.
Not
You're
to me,
ready
baby.
for Blind for Love sweatshirt?
When I see those pink boots, I say thank you so much for my food.
Yes.
Thank you so much for my food.
Boots.
The boots.
As we say, boots. So we have her wearing this sweatshirt and robbing a streaming company wearing a cat mask. I mean, that was camp. That was a little reference for the girls. That's I'm a cat lady. Don't you ever forget it. That was a little signal. Old Taylor, she's not all dead. She's not all dead. She's addressing all the misconceptions and distortions about her character in this video. And one of the main ones is that she's money hungry and self-interested. Well, that one.
Well,
Well,
who knows? We don't know.
You
I
didn't-
don't have that answer. When
you
we're
didn't
talking,
refute
look
that
what you
one.
made me do. When we're talking, look what you made me do video. I'm Swiftie. I hand heart. She's the queen.
Exactly.
She's never done anything wrong. Who's a billionaire? I don't
Not
know.
her.
What does that mean?
No,
What's
she actually
capitalism?
Taylor
I don't
Swift
know that.
nonprofit organization.
No, exactly. That's what's going on
Humanitarian
here.
arm of the world.
Exactly.
Red Cross.
Exactly.
Red Taylor's version cross.
Mm-hmm.
So, she's satirizing her fight with Spotify and the letter to Apple Music here, but it was serious. We just didn't want to admit it at the time, and we're not going to admit it. Then we have the motorcycle scene. This one, I think she really just wanted to lift up a bike and wear a leather jacket.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing really else to it. She was like, I want to serve. It kind of reminds me of the telephone video for Gaga and Beyonce.
Oh yeah.
It was giving that.
Yes, the same kind of like general vibe. If anything, I've always thought like, I don't know, maybe girl group, girl biker gang, girl squad,
Harley's Angels, maybe
something like that. I have no idea, but I clapped
Angels?
and I cheered.
Not
it
Harley's
great.
Angels. I don't know what they're called. What's that biker gang
Hell's
called?
Angels. Hell's Angels.
Hell's Angels.
Harley's Angels. I was
Harley's Angels.
I was allowed.
Yeah, you said I'm just gonna let you rock.
Yeah,
I'm gonna let you rock. So it's apparently an homage to a Vogue editorial from the 90s, and if so, we cheered. I love a thoughtful music video. We haven't had one in a really long time.
You talking about from Taylor?
Yes, from Taylor.
Okay,
From
well,
Taylor
speak
Swift.
on it. Speak. Say
When
it.
was the last time we got a video like this?
Well, when was the
She's
last time you got a
capable.
video?
She's
I
she's
can see
capable
you.
of this. Cricket. Karma. Goodbye. Goodbye. Thank you. You were bigger than the whole sky. Then we get into the squad scene. Oh, wow. This is the girl squad. One of the main critiques of her at this time that made her very unlikable and eroded her reputation as the world's best friend was that she was a bully. Instead of feeling like the friendly girl that would invite you to sit with her, she got a reputation for being, as Katy Perry said in one of her most clear and astute moments, the Regina George in sheep's clothing. She plays into that here, commanding a room of perfect near identical robot dolls who are actually mannequins. Everyone is pointing out that her friends were only models at this time, and she is serving headmistress supreme here in a latex bodysuit, and I gasped.
Oh yeah, this was the look. Like, there's a lot of incredible looks in this video, and there's a lot of like really sexy looks. This one stands alone. This is hot.
This one is
stuff.
sexual.
This one is like she's got a crop in her hand. Like,
she's gonna,
I mean,
you're over.
I was
whoever you are watching this, you're over.
I was looking disrespectfully. I really was.
We were all looking disrespectfully in that moment.
Yeah.
Then we get into the choreography scene where Taylor flings open the doors, the French doors in this mansion, and she storms the beaches of Normandy into the great room of this mansion with her various assistants scrambling around her, sadly including Todrick Hall. Tomato. But this was a gag and a slay. I always thought her makeup here was a choice. The bronzer is really rough and muddy. It's literally just like orange streak on her face. But that was kind of the look of the time. This was the Kylie Jenner like heavy makeup era. And the dark lip slays. And we love to see her in a cunty boot with fishnets and some salt spray in her hair.
Mm-hmm. I like the look. The dance sequence scene to me is probably like one of the more boring scenes, like compared to the rest of the music video. I don't think of it quite often, but I clap, I cheer. I mean, what do you want me to say? I could watch this video over and over and not get tired of it, so I'm clapping.
Her assistants line up behind her and they take off their blazers to reveal that they are wearing I Heart TS crop tops.
I guessed. I moved. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, no way.
That was
no way.
Yeah, I never. Was so.
It blew me. It blew my mind.
So obviously, this is a reference to her ability to control men or be a man-eater generally, and a direct reference to Tom Hiddleston debasing himself at her Rhode Island Independence Day romp.
And for
that was
what?
Embarrassing.
In the end,
for what? You flopped
you
for a getaway
poor
car.
Son of a. You got nothing out of this. Nothing, I tell you, nothing.
She put the money in the bag and stole the keys, and you were left wearing your wet, white I Heart TS t-shirt, looking like a clown. A clown.
Your hair's
clowndom.
a mess. You're fucking wearing a soaking wet t-shirt like a whore. Get in the house. Get in the
Come on,
house.
you need to go home. A towel. You need to dry off.
Yeah.
So the Taylor Mountain, then, wow, what a moment. This was executed so dramatically and artfully. The slow pan to reveal this severe-looking Taylor. I don't like this look. Madeline apparently loves it.
Kill yourself.
Slicked
Kill yourself.
back hair.
Kill yourself. Kill
I
yourself.
like the
Kill yourself.
bodysuit. I like the rep. I like everything. Neck down, I'm a fan. Hair, it's giving bald. Not a fan.
Well, I keep saying my favorite moment, but one of my favorite moments in the video is the first shot when she's looking directly into the camera and she says, I don't trust nobody and nobody trusts the intensity in her face. They could never make me hate you.
No,
I don't care if she was wearing a clown hat.
Queen.
I'm clapping and
you're
I'm cheering.
doing a snuff film and actually murdering people live on cam. I'm clapping.
And when we pull back and we see that she's standing in front of a big neon T and she's on top of the Taylor Mountain, there is nothing in this world that makes me feel like that moment does.
I feel
wish
crazy.
I could close my eyes and see it like in like surround IMAX. That's what I want. I want it on my eyelids.
I could bottle that feeling and take a sip of it whenever I need it. Well, actually, all I need to do is flick up the video and I get the feeling. Every time I watch it, I come away being like, this is the greatest music video of all time. I don't care what anyone says. It is.
Really
you can't argue.
Care. I don't care.
You really can't argue. So she is standing with her rep bodysuit, presiding over a desperate frenzy of her former selves. All of these old Taylors are desperately vying to return to the top spot and reclaim their destiny as the good girl superstar. But no. Reputation Taylor will control them all and eat them for lunch. She juts her arms out and they all fall away into the abyss. The shot of fearless Taylor passing away genuinely rocked my world.
That is grief. A really good shot. It's a really good shot too.
In that moment, I was like, "Oh my god, not my fairy tale princess, not her."
There she goes.
Save her. Just if you're saving one, just save her.
And it was so interesting because that was the first time. Thinking now, like in the era of the Eras tour, all of these things that she's used for a very long time to represent all the different.
It's like whatever. But of course,
at the time, it was like, that's what she thinks about the Fearless era, and she has the flapper dress and this and the guitar. It's like, and then like the red
the circus outfit.
Yeah, the circus outfit, and then the "You Belong with Me" pajama set. I was like,
two Fearless Taylors technically in that video.
I was glued. I was like, I cannot believe I'm seeing this with my own two eyes.
And the hair too. That was the most successful recreation of the hair. I can see you wishes. I can see you literally
I can see you wishes really bad.
That it could be that.
That hair was nuclearly bad.
It was really it was not
Oppenheimer.
Good. James. What was it?
James.
But the level of detail that she went into on the Taylor Mountain as well was like actually fascinating and like very granular. If you look closely, there's like the BBMA's Taylor in the white jumpsuit. Like if you really go into it, there's the squirrel pajamas. Like it is in different areas. They didn't make this up.
We don't talk about it. I think that every morning we should wake up and discuss it. I'm telling the truth.
Literally, good morning.
Why are we not talking about this every day?
Taylor Mountain on the docket. You can't get this at the Selena Gomez store. You can't get this at the Ariana Grande store. You can't even get this at the Beyonce store. You can only get this at store.taylorswift.com. That's the only place. And it's priceless.
And that's not up for debate. That's just is the tea. So
nope. It's a serve. It's a serve. So she's dead. Then we return to a tight shot of Taylor in the bathtub. It's only her iconic red lips, such an iconic symbol of hers, painted in that high shine gloss with those gouge your eyes out nails. And she reveals the old Taylor can't come to the phone right now. And it's like kind of out of focus, just focused on the phone and like her nails. And then when it says why, because she's dead, it like zooms in on her lips. I mean, now come on. Come on.
Anybody?
Shocked. Completely shocked. The plane scene, again, very interesting. This is another mysterious moment. She's sawing off the arm of her private plane and spray painting Reputation on it. I think that this is a metaphor that links back to an idea she shared in her last profile before the cancellation with GQ, where she felt as if sometimes she was flying a plane and didn't know where or how to land it. And she also mentions the plane going down again on Labyrinth in Midnights. And I think that this kind of confirms the significance of that reference. That's just my read on it, though.
Interesting. I never thought of that before. I had heard I had never known. I never really had my own theory about it. The only thing that I had ever heard is that people thought it was about her flight being tracked and like shit cutting the wings off of her plane was like to be like, oh, now you can't track me anymore and now I'm off the grid. Do you know what I mean? Like, you'll never find me.
I feel that. But we
that kind of a thing. But
and we did.
Yeah.
That was stupid.
We always will, queen.
We know where you are. And of course, we end with the only worthwhile dialogue ever to be included in a Taylor Swift music video. Since she wasn't doing interviews or posting very much, this was a really important opportunity for her to speaketh and set the tone for the album release. So smart to have a skit featuring all of the old Taylors, plus a few new, very 2017 Kim Kardashian-inspired, clearly avatars as well. The one who talks about editing their receipts is very Kim K coded. The old Taylors deliver their iconic lines, stop making that surprised face, it's so annoying, kind of further acknowledging all these competing critiques of her throughout the years, while also showing a self-awareness, which is something we badly needed from her after being like 1989 at the end. It was like, enough. You're getting prissy. It's too self-serious. Like, it's not that deep. But this is actually such a funny and clever scene. I would very much like to be excluded from this narrative. Shut up! But
she got herself. My favorite one is when I think it's Red Taylor says to like Fearless Taylor, she's like, stop acting like you're so nice all the time.
You're so fake.
You're so fake. And then she bursts into tears. I'm like, yep. That's exactly
what she would do. That's exactly what she would do.
Yeah.
This is the moment where Taylor Swift was the greatest actress in the world. She was Natalie Portman. She was Julia Roberts. She was Meryl Streep. All
Julianne
of them
Moore.
in a line.
All of them. Yep.
We should be getting. Why aren't we getting an Oscar for this?
I beat Meryl. That's what she should have been saying. I beat Meryl.
Literally. Meryl, you are nothing. And she is nothing when you put it in this context. I like how this video didn't directly reference the tea in the drama. It wasn't like a roast or a takedown of her enemies, which I think is what everybody was expecting her to do. They were like, let's directly reference Kim Ye and Katie. But it was like rather a demonstration, like a more macro, like pulled back. She's aware of our opinions about her and she will keep creating and making her art regardless. She was trying to make it seem like she didn't care, but I think she really wanted to create a blank slate for herself, and she knew she had to address all the nonsense before she could really get into it. And she took the opportunity to address all of that nonsense. The drama here that is addressed extends way beyond just 2016. It was like the culmination of years of biting her tongue and being fed up and trying to be good. And I thought that this was a really inspiring and creative way to deal with unfair criticism. Brava.
I say it's the greatest video ever made. They beautiful, never been done before, inspiring, monumental, life-changing, bus, club, throw it out. Bar, drink, home, etc. Greatest thing. It's a film. Honestly, this is the film. All too well 10. You're nothing. Let's talk about what you made me do.
Goodbye. Nobody cares about you. And we need Taylor's version of this video. Imminently. Reshoot it, shot for shot remake. Nothing
for
different.
For no reason. Other than I want to see it. Yep.
Fix the tea. And also don't put Taylor's version, Look What You Made Me Do in it. Put the old version. We'll pretend we don't notice.
Exactly.
Because we don't need the new version.
We don't need it.
We really don't. I've heard enough to know that I don't want it.
Exactly.
All right, September 2nd. Shortly after Look What You Made Me Do sent shockwaves through the culture, Ready for It was previewed in an ad during a college football game between Florida and Alabama. Can we talk about what a flop way this was to bring a legend into this world? I saw this on Twitter and was like, this can't be real. Why, after this iconic buildup, would she waste her time on a college football game? But she did.
You know, it's so funny because in the past, I remember myself as being like ardently opposed to previews. I did not like them. They would bother me. I didn't like having this snippet of a song and be like, I would rather just wait and be totally surprised and gagged. But I did listen to this one because I could not help myself for whatever reason. And I remember also being baffled, but I also remember being
intrigued.
So it is ridiculous, but I like the memory. It makes me smile. Smile.
Well, there you go. Made you smile. Made me want to can us. On this same day, Taylor attends Abigail's wedding as the maid of honor. She is pictured in a burgundy dress in Martha's Vineyard, looking very unhappy to be photographed. This is our first candidate of the year since January, and she was booed by fans for not going over to say hi. Come
The
on
wedding?
now.
At the wedding?
At the wedding, they booed her for not coming out to say hi.
I don't remember that.
This
That
is not a red carpet.
Hilarious.
This is Abigail who gave everything she had to a boy who changed his mind's wedding day. How dare you intrude on that?
That's deranged. I've forgotten about that. That's crazy. You guys need like a Xanax or something because that's bad
not
behavior.
good.
That's bad behavior.
A clip of her speech, her bridesmaid speech, makes it online. And I mean, it was a little raunchy. Ooh la la. My question was, it's not that. I mean, it's not that interesting. But she does at the wedding make some comment about her and her then fiance, or I suppose husband, going into a bathroom and her hearing noises. I was like, in front of the mom and dads. Really?
She said
Taylor
that? That's
Swift.
weird.
Yes, she said
I
that.
don't
There's
like
a transcript of it somewhere.
See, now I wish I hadn't have asked because I don't like that. I'd be so pissed. I don't know what their friendship is like. I don't know what they do. I don't know what they talk about. And it's just like, haha, isn't that funny? If that was me, I'd be like, I'm going to have your head.
When Granny's in the room, it's not funny. When Granny's there,
funny. When Granny's in the room,
it's not funny. So my question is, did she have to come up with something else for Abigail's second wedding?
Oh, you're just being a. No, what about
what else did she have to say?
This marriage failed. How about your second wedding?
Did she have to repeat it? Did you just do the same thing and change out the names? That's what I would do. Chat GPT.
That's what I would do. I mean, it's like, how many more of these are we gonna do? I mean, as if Taylor's going to really talk.
No, she's not. She's not. Back to Ready for It. This was so soon after Look What You Made Me Do. It was honestly crazy. I guess because she wasn't doing any promo, the music had to kind of be the self-generating publicity machine. For comparison, the gap between Shake It Off and Out of the Woods, the second song we heard from 1989, was 2 months. It was like 7 weeks between those two songs. We knew nothing about 1989, and yet she was everywhere. So we didn't need a song because Shake It Off was the song and everybody was turning it up and playing it. I suspect that Taylor knew that Look What You Made Me Do was a little bit weird and wacky and might not get a lot of radio play, hence the quick follow-up. But it was also like very unusual for her to hard launch a second single like that. Sometimes it would be like a pre-release track, but it became an unofficial single for the record about 2 weeks later. How was this received? So I remember hearing the snippet and being like, oh no, this can't be the second way that we meet the new single from this deeply polarizing record. Oh no, no, no. And I do remember feeling lukewarm on it when it came out and genuinely thrown and surprised by the rapping. Because let's be honest, she's spitting bars.
She is spitting bars. I remember I sat my ass. I remember exactly. This is back when I still smoked cigarettes. I was sitting outside. I was smoking a cigarette, and I was being dragged by my hair through the mud by the song. I was like, what is this? But the thing is, it's like 1 listen, what the fuck was that? 2 listens, I get it. And it's the greatest thing that's ever happened to me.
Yeah, you, I think, are one of the rare few that Ready for It really, really actually clicked for almost instantly.
Oh, I was obsessed with it. I was like, at that point, I was like, there's no Taylor Swift song like this song. I still think that.
And you were right. There isn't one like it to this day. It's a weird creation. It is a weird Frankenstein song. Yeah, and I've really come around on Ready for It so much, especially after hearing all the different live versions of it, because it goes insane. Off. It goes insane. Like, it really just goes crazy. It receives mixed reviews from critics. Better than Look What You Made Me Do, but it's generally considered to be not Taylor Swift and a bit too trend chasing, which it definitely was, but I don't think that makes it bad at all. It's our first Max Martin number from the record. Max Martin and Jack Antonoff are the winning formula for a Taylor Swift record. I'm just saying, 1989 Reputation, come on. That's the material for pop Taylor. That's the combo that I want. You can tell that it's a Max Martin production because of that real earworm of a chorus. The throat clearing gagged. And the line that really gagged me was, he can be my jailer, Burton to this Taylor.
That whole part of the song, that part in the second verse, it's kind of like a pre-chorus where it picks up. She goes, and he can be that. I was speaking in tongues at that point. I was like, oh my god,
that is Nicki Minaj Monster. Oh, it really is.
That's what my money's so tall that my Bobby's got a climate. That's literally what it sounds like.
Automobile
gangsta. I was like, literally. Oh no, pink wig, thick on Reputation. Pink wig.
Not America's Sweetheart. Not that.
Not that. I I'm not going to wax poetic too much about Ready For It, but I truly think that it is one of the greatest songs ever made. And anybody who disagrees is an anti-Swiftie and an enemy of the state. And we will find you. We will find you.
It is certainly the thesis statement of this record, for sure. An incredible opening track. I think this was probably, just from a marketing perspective, too left field of a choice to come right out of the gate with as the immediate follow-up single. I would have played around with the order and done Delicate second and put Ready For It third, just because I think that Delicate is more like traditional Taylor fare, but still in that new Reputation style. Vulture said the song doesn't reinvent pop or Taylor, but it does get her name out on a product built to keep pace with current trends, which I thought was an interesting way to analyze this. Billboard says that she has never sung more expressively nor sounded more in tune with the way modern pop production uses the voice as an instrument. And the song's chorus has one of the prettiest melodies of her career, and that's so true. Ready For It, the hook really just has this beautiful, like, glittering, shimmering, like tropical island, beautiful crystal water sound to it. I don't know how to describe.
And you know what? Here's the thing about the song. Really, if I can have just a moment, if I can have the floor, here's really the thing about the song is that to meld these two like very distinctive sounds together is legitimately the album. It's the album.
Mm-hmm.
It's, oh, we're in love. We're in love. Are you ready for it? Like literally, that is the album. Nobody understands.
It's jarring.
It's jarring. And it literally is the record. It is Reputation. And anybody who says otherwise is an enemy of the state, and we will find you. I'm activated right now, and I need to.
Yeah. Well, this song also shouldn't work theoretically. Like, it shouldn't work the way that it does. Like, it has two very distinct Frankenstein parts of it, but it works, girlies. What can I tell you?
Bride of Frankenstein is who we're dealing with here. And you know what? She served wig,
C-U-N-T forever and ever. So in the meantime, Trump-frenzied journalists are still cooking up their Taylor Swift is a neo-Nazi nonsense. Here's a headline story from WNYC a few days before Ready For It came out. Taylor Swift, alt-right icon. It's an interview with the reporter who initially broke the story. Then we get the flop AT&T collaboration. We're getting behind-the-scenes content of Taylor in the studio, which is very clearly like, we're doing a shoot today and you're going to pretend like you're doing behind the scenes. Like, this was not the actual BTS content. She's strumming a guitar. She's talking about cookie dough. She's playing with Olivia. These videos would be cute if you were not haunted by them while trying to get boosts for the verified fan program in Ticketmaster. I've seen these videos a million times. I never need to see them again. Ever.
But do you know something? Mama got tickets worked. And I got my seats.
Mama got her tickets. Mm-hmm. I got tickets too.
I was pleased.
And it wasn't hard. Received. I got front row B stage with very little effort.
And that's so
slayed.
And it took 15 minutes.
And I got 13th row from the actual main stage one night too. And I
and the other girls.
And where are they? Whomst? Housed? We get some BTS content of the Look What You Made Me Do video, notably Taylor shooting her Taylor Mountain scene. I remember seeing bits and pieces of this and like the AT&T stuff and feeling reassured. I was like, okay, the head snake is still here, but the dorky loser I know and love is also in the room. She released and discounted Look What You Made Me Do on iTunes to try and hold on to her number one, but she couldn't because Bodak Yellow dethrones Look What You Made Me Do, making Cardi B the first solo female rapper to have a number one, as in solo female rapper without a collaborator, in 18 years. And Taylor is a class act and sends her flowers. Yeah, it was a big moment.
Nicki Minaj never went number one solo? That's crazy. We need to do something about this.
Yes,
I mean, obviously Cardi B already did, and like I'm a barb
for life. I wish I could have this barb for life. That's us.
Whenever I read something about that, it's like we were just talking about like, oh, a woman didn't have a number one single in 10 years in country music. A female rapper didn't have a number one in 18 years. It's like, what?
What's going on? It doesn't make sense. It really doesn't make sense at all.
It really doesn't make sense.
Makes no sense. And also, girls dominate pop music and all music. If we can be serious, I can find you a great female artist in every genre. Just give me the challenge. Rumors are also circulating a lot at this moment as Taylor's out of the spotlight. Some suggested that she would headline the Victoria's Secret fashion show in Shanghai with Harry Styles. Now, why the hell would she do that? Why would she do that? I would love it if it had happened, but that was never going to happen.
That was never going to happen. Even at the time, I think I remember being like, now what crack cocaine are you guys huffing on that you think that this would ever be something that she would do in a time when she's not doing jack? You think she's gonna do that? Please.
And what did you not understand about there will be no further explanation, there will just be reputation? Hello?
What didn't click?
Was it not clear to you? You
what
didn't
was the
understand?
first time she said that? Was that in the post?
This
was in
is
the Instagram post.
A contended thing. Some people say she never actually said it, and I was trying to
did
find.
Say it.
I think it was in the Instagram caption for the announcement.
It was the Instagram
of the record.
caption.
One of them it was, but someone the other day was trying to tell me that she never actually said that, and I was like,
"Well, then where did it come from, Miss Girl? We didn't make it up. We're not that smart."
Yeah, Miss Girl, I didn't make it up. I didn't make it up. We couldn't come up with beautiful lyrical poetry such as
we
that.
Couldn't do that. No.
Oh no. Nobody could do that except the HBIC.
And I would bet you $1 million it's in the liner intro of the Reputation magazine. I would bet you anything.
Probably. Yeah. So there's also another rumor saying that she would be doing a halftime show for the college football. Please. They can't even get her on the Super Bowl. You think she's going to be doing college halftime show? No. She had fallen, but she had not fallen that far. October 13th, the Reputation secret sessions begin in London. This was the ticket. It was the secret session to attend because she had been quiet as a mouse. Curiosity was killing the cat, and we could not picture what an entire record was going to sound like based off of these two songs. She wears a black shirt dress, fishnet tights, and these iconic Gucci snake boots. She's also got her natural hair in curls. I don't think she straightened it once for the Reputation secret sessions. I think we had convinced ourselves that sessions simply weren't happening. Oh, how wrong we were. From this session, very crucially, someone said that Gorgeous, which we were going to learn about soon enough, had lyrics that could cut glass. And to that I say, no lie detected.
Well, I was
complete
ready
truth.
Because I was seated in my seat and I was in the airplane and I was going because we had Look What You Made Me Do and we had Ready For It, and I was like, oh, those are two songs that I believe do have lyrics that could cut glass. So I was like, let's go. And I was theorizing like, oh,
and
Gorgeous.
You showed up and you got the meal you received, right?
Well, I thought it was gonna be like I was imagining like a The Weeknd kind of a song, like dark, sexy. I don't want to live forever, like very hot and steamy. And instead,
it was silly.
That's what I got. I got the clown car.
Instead, you got the Mona Lisa, is what you meant to say. That's what you really meant to say.
Oh,
you got the Mona Lisa.
I see.
Okay.
I see.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
October 20th, we're almost 2 months post Look What You Made Me Do, and it is still crickets. No interview, no performance, 2 songs, and that's on period. Up next, she drops another menacing Instagram post. Having post notifications on her during that time was like mainlining crisis content. She was announcing a new song, and this one was called Gorgeous. It is another Max Martin Shellback number. It was not a single, just an album pre-release, opening with Blake Lively's daughter saying, Gorgeous, which we didn't know until the sessions rolled around. Taylor idiotically said on Tumblr, when everyone was asking, who's this about? Only 300 people know. That went down like a bag of sick with the fandom on Tumblr.
Oh, they hated that.
They hated it. Secret Sessions already brought out the worst impulses in the community. And
I was ready to strike at all times. I was ready to kill. So yeah. I was
shut
like,
up,
shut your ugly whore mouths.
And it was like Secret Sessioners were annoying enough anyway for Taylor to participate in because the annoying thing was I know and you don't, like that really is what it was. And for Taylor to join in, she literally apologized. She was like, guys, I didn't mean it like that. And then she told everyone what it was.
She was like, well, now I look like a so I guess I'll just let you all know.
That is the drama that officially ran her off Tumblr completely. I really believe that. She was like, I really can't do this again. But she was still using it. She was still liking Tumblr posts. I got a few likes. And we all know what that led to. Of the 3 pre-release tracks, this is the closest to an old Taylor, but also is still very much her in that talk singing style. I loved this song the second that it came out. The lyrics that could cut glass, so unbelievably true. The sessions in general were kind of hilarious and messy because people were like stealing pens and paper from board games, taking home soaps and toilet paper, and it was kind of nonsensical. In total, there were 500 fans at the sessions, 2 in Rhode Island, none in New York, I presume because she was really keeping a very low profile at the time, 1 in Nashville, 1 in LA, and 1 in London, and we had celebrity guests. We had Haim, we had Jack Antonoff. I had Abigail, who gave everything she had to a boy who changed his mind. I saw her ring. Joe, notably absent from the secret sessions. Let me tell you, Travis Kelce would be in the
Oh,
room
he would-
screaming and shouting, jumping. Dress comes on. He's taking off his clothes and doing a striptease. He's on the
Yeah.
pole. And we're seated.
I would kill to be at a session that Travis Kelce was at. That would be my bread and butter. I'd be like, this was
Goofy
meant
ass
for me.
bitch.
This was meant for
Goofy.
me.
Goofy.
Goofy
I need to see
shit.
it. I need
And
to see it.
Yeah.
I remember that information about the album was not leaking. Like, the sessioners were on lockdown, and I did not encounter any leaks before my session, and I don't remember intentionally avoiding them. I called Madeline after mine, and I said, what do you want to know? And she said, nothing at all.
I'm very anti-leak. Everybody knows this about me. Even he could have told me the whole kit and caboodle, and I said, tell me nothing. The only thing that I allowed was you saying, I hate the Ready For It music video. And I was like, well, say more. Say more.
And I was like, there's nothing more to say. It's just nothing. Like, it is nothing. Like, the music video itself is
And
cricket.
I concur. It's a shame. It's a shame.
I think I remember telling you that the album was very dramatic. I think you asked me, like, top level with absolutely no spoilers at all.
Mm-hmm.
What is the vibe? And I was like, it's camp.
And I think I also asked you, like, okay, when we know the track list, tell me which ones you liked the most. I think that's when I said, because we didn't know the track list by the time you went, did we?
No,
so
we didn't.
I think that's
it hadn't come out. It came out a few days later, actually, because I think that did eventually leak.
Yeah, and I asked you to rank them, and you did, and you forgot So It Goes, and that was my 13th reason.
Did I always hate King of My Heart? I think that was always at the bottom of my list. Like, literally from the moment I heard it, I was like, no, that.
I wonder if I still have the DM, because it would be so interesting to read it.
Well, that account is suspended, so probably not.
Son of a.
I know, they need to give me that back. All my session tweets. Because I got out of that session, I tweeted, well, yeehaw.
That would have been me.
And
I always,
crisis.
This is kind of embarrassing, but I've always wanted to tweet, so, hee.
Yeah. Well, I did that, but I just said yeehaw, because I was in Nashville. One day you will.
Well, period. So,
and then
yeehaw.
they will realize. So how did the critics respond to Gorgeous? Not well. The lyricism was called clumsy, and the songwriting was considered sloppy. How dare you say that the prophetic, guess I'll just stumble on home to my cats, was not excellent or cutting glass material?
Let me ask you, I can't tell if you're being serious or not. Do you actually like Gorgeous? I don't think I ever knew this about you.
Yes, I love Gorgeous. I mean, it's not like my favorite song from Reputation, but I smile and I cheer when it comes on.
All right, whatever. I have no comment.
And I love the chorus.
No comment.
This is just another one of my very unpopular opinions. Some felt it was brighter and more fun and signified a lighter part of the record, which it kind of sort of did. New York Magazine called the romantic narrative disjointed and implausible. How can it? What's implausible about it? You're gorgeous and I'm scared of talking to you? Well, saying that Joe Alwyn is gorgeous is implausible.
Yeah, that I understand.
I can't believe it. I don't believe it. I don't.
That I understand.
I get it. Now I get it. I understand. Turkey in hindsight, 2020. Yep. And Taylor, they also said Taylor sounded like a malfunctioning android. Kind of gagged her.
That's just unkind. That's unkind.
Kind of gagged her. It was mean.
Gagged her.
And it debuted at number 13 on the Hot 100 and displayed the softer side of the Heart of Reputation, the love story. This is classic Taylor Fair content-wise. She's talking about a chance encounter and the beginning of something new. She apparently asked fans at the session to share with people that this song was about Joe.
That's strange. What is that's odd. Don't you find that odd?
She did a lot of that, actually, now that I think about it, at the session, being like, and if they say it's about this, you tell them it's about that. Because she obviously was gagging herself, couldn't say anything. So she was like, you are my minions and you will tell people what this is about.
Oh, you're so right. She was doing a lot of that at the Reputation sessions. Okay, yeah.
She was like, and fans would
you
come out and be like,
run
clearing
on
the
and
air.
you tell them.
And that also went down like a bag of sick, because it just contributed to the I know and you don't. Na 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 na.
And they hated that. They hated that.
They hated it. I heard this song the day before I got the call. That's just a fun fact. I'm not going to get into the secret session here because ad nauseum, there's a whole YouTube video of it on my channel if you want to go check it out. Some more information slowly starts to trickle out, both from the sessions and from some well-planted insider sources, beginning of Taylor's and Tree's very friendly relationships with E.T. and People. Taylor and Joe have been spending a lot of time together in London. We learn that she's met and become close with his brother, Patrick. We actually got a picture of her with him when she randomly showed up at some girl's home in London with merch. I completely forgot about this, but there's photos of her like trying to approach this cat in their random suburban backyard, and the cat is like, get away from me.
Yeah, I completely forgot about this too until I read this. I was like, why was she doing it like that?
Why did she do that? And
She's such a
she only did that
weirdo.
once. How did she pick the girl? Like, why did she bring Patrick with her?
We don't know.
She was like, hey, do you want to skip school and come meet a random 13-year-old with me? Why? And why is he in the picture with them? I would be like,
she's
get
so
out.
Weird.
This
she's
is my picture with Taylor Swift. I don't care about you, Joe Alwyn's flop brother. I don't know you. You know what?
Exactly.
It'd be like that. I guess it'd just be like that. Joe is in Atlanta filming Boy Erased. I didn't even know he was in it. I didn't even know he was in it.
This is the first time I'm hearing about it. This is the first time I'm hearing about it.
Obviously wasn't a starring role. The final secret session happens in Nashville. A certain girly went there. I called you, told you that the Ready For It music video was cricket. And the video comes out on my birthday. So the concept of the video is kind of Blade Runner-esque. Bad Taylor meets nude vulnerable Taylor, who eventually gets destroyed. This is interesting. Some say that the nude Taylor is the media version of herself. I don't see the merit in parsing this music video because it's kind of nonsense to me and it doesn't have anything to do with the song.
So the one part of the video that I really like, I think this is the part of the video that everybody likes. It's when she's walking up the stairs and there's the lightning bolt. Mm-hmm. And it says, I think it's a piano somehow in it. And it says they're burning all the witches. And that was like the first inclination of anything we had about I did something bad. We didn't know it was I did something bad. It didn't even say, and even if you are one, it just said they're burning all the witches. And I remember seeing that and being like, I'm about to have a cardiac arrest. I thought that was the coolest thing in the entire universe.
Literally. And she has 89, 91 on the wall, her year, Joe Alwyn's birth year, Teddy and Joe and Year of the Snake written in Chinese.
So, when I read this and the thing, I had just been having like a conversation about, the other day she was wearing earrings that were in a heart and they had T in them. And I made a joke and I said T-Eller because everyone was saying it was Travis and I was just being a joke. And somebody replied to me saying, but she's also wearing opal. And that's Travis Kelce's birthstone. And I was like, okay, she doesn't do like that. And then I'm sitting here and I'm viewing this. 89 and 91 on the wall. And I'm like, all right, she does do like that.
She's psycho. She's psycho.
Really
she is psycho. And she is having a lot of fun lately doing the messaging with the clothes. And I like that. I like the messaging with the clothes. I'm down for that. I don't like Bejeweled music video. That's the Easter egg that I don't like. I like serving boot with snake on it. Please. Yeah. Anytime. Please, anytime you feel called to communicate something to us through your clothes, do it. Even if it's ugly.
Reputation is a really, really good one to be signaling in clothing because it's very specific.
It's
Things
her
that
most
signal
distinct
rep, it
era,
cannot
visually.
signal anything else. Like that's rep. You just know it when you see it. Yeah.
You know it when you see it.
Yeah.
So on October 31st, her partnership with AT&T continues and gives us perhaps the crown jewel of its creation. The behind-the-scenes looks at songs on Reputation. I really wish that we had gotten one for Look What You Made Me Do. That would have served so hard. Instead, we got Gorgeous. What's interesting is you kind of can date when she's writing the songs based on the bleach of her hair growing out. So we have her playing the guitar with like a wordless melody on day one, and we see the iteration and how the lyrics come to fruition. And then we get to see it finally in a near finished version, playing it for Max in the studio. These are very intentional, like the voice memos. They're not only supposed to show us, behind the scenes, but also to reinforce to everyone that she is a songwriter, that she comes up with these ideas herself. Like by the time she brings it to Max, the song is fully formed. It's just the production work that needs to be done. And I love these looks into her process. I love watching her brain work and seeing her unselfconsciously saying nonsense, making mistakes. Like I love to see the artist at work.
Me too. And I tell you what, I would pay 10 million American dollars for a behind the scenes of Ready For It. I would do anything. I would do anything.
And it would be a gag. Those ones, I feel like Ready For It and Look What You Made Me Do, she was probably having conversations about what they were going to be and what they were going to mean. And she probably didn't want to show that at the time because she was being very closed. But in this day and age, let's release the tapes.
Let's release the tapes. Yes.
Those are the vault tracks.
Please.
Give them to us, please. On November 3rd, she posts a typewriter-produced lyric on Instagram, and it says, "But would you run away with me?" Yes. Also, holding my breath slowly, I said, "You don't need to save me." And this is because Call It What You Want is the final pre-release song before the record comes out. I famously tweeted, "Call It What You Want" is a sassy bop, and got clowned for saying that. But did I lie? Did I lie?
Yes, you did.
To be honest, I couldn't remember what it was, and I just said it.
You said the first thing. It's like most of the songs kind of are sassy bop. It's the vaguest thing I could say.
That
sassy
was the
bop.
one. And that's the one that you really can't sassy bop it. That Delicate
Right, exactly.
and New Year's Day are not sassy bops. This is our second Jack Antonoff track from the record that we get to meet. It definitely has that 2017 trap pop production element to it. It is an atmospheric synth pop song about feeling dejected by her public humiliation, getting rescued by her mans. This is a bit of a forced moment because we know she was still licking her wounds, but she says, "I'm doing better than I ever was." Were you?
She's always doing that. What's up with that? I'm happier now than I've ever been in my entire life. Here's
Can't you just say, "I'm okay. I'm good"?
Yeah. She
it's neither great.
loves to say it like this. This is the best I've ever been. And it's like, you gotta stop. You need to stop. It's like the kiss of death.
Yeah, it's the harbinger of bad things to come. Please shut up. Yeah. So I think for the narrative purpose of the record, this was a smart song to put out as the final single right before the record comes out because it's the most vulnerable glimpse into the record that we get. And the story being told currently so far is, "Look what you made me do, I'm dead. Ready for it, I'm still dead, but I'm swinging. Gorgeous, I'm in love." This made no sense in the context of the first two songs. And then "Call It What You Want," "I'm bruised, but I'm better than I ever was." And sure.
I'm obsessed with "Ready for It, I'm dead, and I'm swinging."
That's what it is. That's literally what it is.
That's what it
is. The second verse of "Call It What You Want" I really like. I know I make the same mistakes every time, but I like that. But unfortunately, it concludes with "Trust him like a brother." We can't do "I'm banging this man and I'm comparing him to Austin Swift." We can't do that, unfortunately.
It's just strange. It's just strangeness, and I don't get it.
Trust him like no other would have worked just as well.
Trust him like no other. Yeah, I don't. She's always doing that. It's like, why do you ruin a good thing by being a little weirdo?
A clunker.
With no one around to tweet it, or
the use of the word maiden.
Kind that's thrown.
Yeah,
I mean, the kind
use of the word maiden and "is it over
thrown.
now" is really weird. Also, that occurred to me the other day. I was like, why are we using that word? That's strange.
See, but when I say it, I'm the devil and I'm the bad guy, and they throw tomatoes. You notice that?
I love "Is It Over Now." Don't get me wrong.
I'm not saying I don't.
Just
I don't want to get into this. I don't want to get into this. Everybody throws tomatoes. Everybody throws tomatoes. We're talking
all right. We're doing Reputation. I really love the chorus. "Call It What You Want." I like the song a lot. I think it's kind of a kiss off. It's casual, whatever. It's kind of like "Stream of Consciousness." It's a very low-key love song, quietly defiant. It's not perfect, but there is something in it that I just am attached to. It's very of its era. Now, the retrospective summations of Reputation say this song received critical acclaim. I do not recall that being the case for this song or for any of the Reputation singles. People were not vibrating with this iteration of Taylor.
No.
And this song didn't help.
I was thinking to myself at the time, I was like, I finally got my little girly back. She's just mine again.
There's my queen.
There's my queen, and nobody else gets it. And you know what?
Again, it was for the fans.
Yeah, I was ready for that. I was really
It was for the fans. She was like, "Here I am. I'm still here. Just letting you know."
Yep.
Gorgeous was received worst of all, if I remember correctly, and this one got kind of a meh. If critical acclaim means this review, the first pre-release single from Taylor Swift that is not distressing, then sure. That's critical acclaim. It debuted and peaked at number 27 on the Hot 100. This is not a great performance for her and her pre-release singles. Let's compare this to the fourth pre-release single from another album. For context, Red, the last pre-release before the album came out, the song, debuted and peaked at number 6 on the Hot 100. It was a top 10 hit. Mean debuted and peaked at number 11. So for those who say that Reputation was a smash at the time and are trying to Taylor wash it in hindsight, it ain't so.
No, they hated it.
So they hated it. But they hated Jesus too when he spoke the truth.
They hated Jesus too.
They understood.
fucking hated Jesus too.
They understood, but in the moment, it was not understood. The visuals for the Call It What You Want lyric video are some of my favorite rep visuals. It's like these behind the scenes videos of her like at home, drinking beer out of plastic cups, strumming the guitar. She's in her coat, evermore coated, very much so. It's an interesting display of the vulnerability and the smallness of her life at this time, because she had really like cut out all the noise and was in her love bubble, in contrast to the glossy big budget music videos that we'd had. I thought it was smart, some strategic vulnerability here. She's staring at Joe behind the camera. I mean, regardless of the turkey behind the lens, it served.
There did seem to be a lot of like her filming herself during this time. I don't know if she was thinking, I'm going to use this for the future album. Maybe she was, maybe she wasn't. But it seemed like Joe was really into filming and taking pictures. And it's like, well,
and we say thank you.
Tapes.
And we thank him even more because he wasn't in them, so it doesn't sully it in hindsight.
Exactly.
Thank you.
See?
Thank you, turkey. That's the one time I say gobble, gobble, gobble.
Gobble, gobble, gobble.
On November 7th, Taylor and the ACLU butt heads. Megan Herning, blogger for a random blog called Popfront that no one's ever heard of, basically posted an incoherent entry on their flop website implying that Taylor was subtly rallying the KKK. Her main issue was that because Taylor hadn't expressly denounced people using her lyrics to support white supremacy, she is a racist. This is obviously nonsense. She compares Taylor's command of the models in Look What You Made Me Do to Hitler's command of the Nazis. Just nonsense. And again, sometimes with Taylor, I'm like, ignore it, because Streisand affecting it is worse. And that's exactly what happened here. Taylor's legal team sent an extremely long-worded cease and desist to the blogger, suggesting that what she had written was defamation per se, which is very difficult to prove in court for a public figure, demanding a retraction of the story and saying explicitly that Taylor is ready to sue if a retraction is not made. And this is what they said in the letter. The notion that Miss Swift supports white supremacy is utterly fabricated and a reprehensible falsehood, and it attempts to portray Miss Swift in a false light. Let this letter stand as another unequivocal denouncement by Miss Swift of white supremacy and the alt-right. Now, where were the other unequivocal denouncements? Because they're saying this is another unequivocal denouncement. When has she ever, prior to this, said anything about that? I mean, she hadn't. That's why people kept bringing it up. Moreover, Miss Swift has not remained silent regarding this issue. Proof. Please, Queen, proof. And she has made clear that she does not approve of any association with such repugnant groups or their beliefs. Contrary to the statements in this story, Miss Swift has repeatedly and consistently denounced white supremacy when she has faced these disgusting accusations, including by denouncing these vile lies when other publications have repeated them. So their examples of her really strongly denouncing these things are one quote from her attorney given a year prior, not from her, and the Washington Post just asserting themselves without any quote from Taylor that Taylor isn't a racist. It's interesting and good that she's taking a harsh stance on this, but what she's doing here is actually not legal and is perhaps even unconstitutional. Could definitely have fallen under anti-SLAPP legislation, depending on where the suit would have been filed. Anti-SLAPP legislation is intended to defend people's right to speak freely by preventing other people from intimidating or harassing them for doing so with frivolous lawsuits. And the ACLU publicly condemned her by saying this blog post is a mix of core political speech and critical commentary. It discusses current politics in this country, the recent rise of white supremacy, and the fact that some white supremacists have apparently embraced Miss Swift, along with a critical interpretation of her music, lyrics, and videos. Criticism is never pleasant, but a celebrity has to shake it off. They love to use a Taylor lyric. They love to use a Taylor lyric in court, in official documents, even if the critique may damage her reputation. Oh my God, there you go. Also, reputation. It stated, adding that not even in your wildest dreams could Swift's claims constitute defamation. They gagged. They gagged. With that.
They gagged. That's incredible.
That kills
I love
me.
that.
That
I love
me.
that. They
Way
kind of
better than the
gagged
Congress.
her a little bit. They gagged her a little bit. Oh yeah. They got her.
So good. They got her. And this is an interesting contradiction to her assertions at the time that she didn't care what the media thought of her, or that she had given up trying to control the narrative. I'm not saying that it wasn't necessary for her to refute this strongly, but she simply could have just made a tweet or an Instagram story and denounced this without demanding a retraction. It's this insistence on not only being able to correct the narrative, but amend it that is a bit troubling about Taylor. You can't help but notice that this letter was sent mere days before Reputation was released, and some language in the letter explicitly says that the author is trying to damage Taylor's relationships with her fans. So what is it? You're upset because you're being assigned to this ideology, or you're upset because being assigned to this ideology makes your fans think less of you?
Gagged her a bit. Gagged her a bit.
Gagged her a little bit. Then, after that, the Reputation Secret Sessions videos come out, and a certain ologist is featured.
This is one of my favorite videos on the internet. When you're the snapping, I have that GIF. I need to bust it out more. I love that. I love that. I love
me
it.
dancing. I, for the life of me, cannot remember what song that was. I think it was Getaway Car.
Well,
I think that's what it was.
Oh,
well, absolutely.
Yeah. We were driving in a getaway car.
They need to release the tapes of the camera on me during New Year's Day. That's what we need to have.
Oh, what did it look like? Spill. Tell us.
I was sitting there trying to look upset while everyone else was having a mental breakdown. I was like,
I need to fit in. You were like, I gotta fit in.
Oh, wow.
I'll be picking up bottles with you.
Tear.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Beautiful. That's actually what my clearest memory of the Secret Sessions is, her explaining that flop bridge. That's the clearest memory I have, is her being like, I had these these lyrics in my notes app, etc., etc. So legendariness of me being in that, of course. She's posting pictures of the UPS trucks with the Reputation album cover on them. I got a Reputation package, and I can't lie, it was pretty cool. It was random.
I didn't
but
get
it was
one.
Cool. Well, you should die. There's also some double-decker buses in London wrapped in the album packaging, like all the way back to front. Imagine getting on a double-decker bus that served.
Like that. I would have been taking. I would have been the dirty American that day, holding up traffic.
I would wait to get that bus, and I would be texting my boss saying, "Sorry, I'm late today. I had to wait for the machine to take me to work."
Yeah, I had to wait for the.
Machine. The mobile didn't come on time, so I don't know what to do. On November 8th, she released the track list. What were your impressions, Lizard?
So what I most remember from the day the track list came out was the haters and the losers and the naysayers.
Of
people
course.
really didn't like the titles. I remember that. Delicate. They didn't like that. That it was signaling white. Delicate. I'm white and I'm so delicate.
Oh my god.
And then also I did something bad. They didn't like that. Don't blame me. They really did not like that. I remember this so vividly, and I remember being like, "Oh no, is this gonna be
Don't
bad?"
blame me. They really hated. They really hated
bad?
Don't Blame Me.
But
they were like,
what?
Taylor Swift playing the victim again.
And
that's actually not what Don't Blame Me is about at all.
No, and see, I was like,
bait and switch.
Bait
and switch.
I remember, what was it? Getaway Car was a particular track that stood out to me that I was like, I'm ready to sit down for that one. Dress was another one that I was very interested in. And I Did Something Bad. I mean, everybody was seated. Seated.
And we are still sat.
Yeah, I'm still sitting. I haven't left.
I
stayed there. Dust collected on my pinned up hair.
Not Lizard dropping a hairpin on the evolution of a snake.
Me.
Me. The back cover completely serves, by the way. I love that shot of her face close up with her deer in headlights.
I love that one too.
Mouth slightly open. Gag. So the think pieces on the imminent failure of Reputation are mounting. Bloomberg writes, in the past, Swift singles have been a harbinger of how her albums fare. Shake It Off never left the top 2 spots in the weeks leading up to and around the release of 1989. When the second single, Blank Space, also took off, Swift became the first woman to score back-to-back songs at number 1. It's not shaping up that way with Reputation.
Kill yourself.
Okay. Sure, Jan. Whatever you say.
Sure, Jan. Whatever you say.
And you will be seated in the 80,000 full stadium for Reputation tour in 6 months. So shut up.
Yep.
Shut up. Look What You Made Me Do set records on Spotify, Apple Music, and YouTube when it was released in August, but none of her songs are on today's top hits, a Spotify playlist with more than 18 million followers. Well, a third song from the new album, Gorgeous, was taken off the top hits playlist in 8 days, a rarity for a major act, according to Sung Cho, founder and chief executive of Data Analytics. Its run on today's top hits is one of the shortest lived, Cho said. We also knew at this point that the record would be withheld from streaming for 2 weeks, and I think this really mirrored Adele's approach to releasing 25, which came out after 1989 before Reputation. She also did a period of exclusivity. The industry, I think, was watching very closely to see if this strategy would work, and also watching the singles, as Billboard just mentioned, to see how the mighty had fallen. But you know what? I found it very interesting. I don't know if I wrote it here or later on actually, I think we get to it later, but Spotify was punishing Taylor for keeping her music off of streaming for such a long time, which is likely why she was taken off of top hits really fast, all of these things. She has since built a really good relationship with them, but they said, you spent years slandering our company. So why should we be putting you in the top spot?
Yeah, I mean, she really dunked on him. And was she right? Yes. Was she right? Yes. But you know what? You got to kiss the ring a little bit.
Mm-mm. And also, I mean, we'll get into it later, but one of the Spotify people actually confirmed that they did this to her, which is interesting. So she is, up until the days of release, she's posting photos of her cats and her flop paintings in anticipation of the album release. At some point before the album came out, actually, no, this isn't true. I said that the performance of New Year's Day in the Rhode Island Secret Session aired.
I think it was the night. It was like the night
it was like the day of or the day after. Fun fact, she also did All Too Well for them in her living room. Private performance of All Too Well. Now that would gag.
What the? I don't remember that. They should kill themselves. I'm pissed.
She did New Year's Day twice, and she did All Too Well. So, well, they should be dead. She posts Let the Games Begin and a photo of her in a rainbow striped dress, and the album is dropped. So we're going to go through it very briefly and just give our little summations. We'll rate the songs out of 10, and then you can hear our full lyrical analysis when we get into our Reputation TV episode. Ready for it. Madeline, are you going to give it a 1 out of 10?
I'm going to give it a 20 out of 10. Thank you.
20 out of 10.
20 out of 10. Thank you.
This is a Max Martin. Actually, Max Martin kind of front loads the album. End Game, featuring Ed Sheeran in Future. Now, this was a moment in the Secret Session that I remember also very clearly. The line, I swear I don't love the drama. It loves me.
It took the girlies out, didn't it?
Come on. All the girlies from the session actually, I think, were gagged by that one line. And Taylor was so, when it was coming up, you could see her just gearing up to watch everyone gag. She loved it. Max Martin. I mean, I think this is a flop.
20 out of 10 from me. Thank you. Thank you for asking. I love it. Sorry.
I mean, it's true that she does bury hatchets, but she keeps maps of where she puts. That's true. She spoke on it, and we listened. And we cheered.
Listened better than anybody. I heard it. It's a secret message just for me. It's like the Gaylor secret messages. I'm getting secret messages from Endgame.
The vinyl backwards. You hear it. I did something bad. I mean, come on. I'm not going to give
20
it a 10.
Out of 10.
I'm going to give it an 8 because 20. I Did Something Bad for a long time was my favorite song, and I remember the gunshots being really a gag when I heard it. And I also kept calling it "Did I Do Something Bad" to Taylor Swift's face, which is just not the name of the song. So,
did she correct you at any point?
Yes, she said it's called "I Did Something Bad" after like the third time I mentioned it. I was like, you're right, Queen.
So then you killed yourself, right?
But I had just experienced a drive-by shooting. No, the part where I really wanted to kill myself was when I said, can we take 2 pictures? And she said no. That's really when I wanted to kill myself.
Oh, did she say it nice, though? She was like, oh, no, we can't do that. Sorry.
Here's what it is. I thought I was being slick. I was like, I don't know what I want to do. Like if I want to like serve or if I want to smile. So can we do both? And she was like, we can do one. Why don't we combine the 2? But it was the way that she looked at me and knew exactly what I was doing. And she was like, we can do one. I was like, I'm actually that memory. I need to Clorox that from my brain. It was awful. You can't pull one over on her.
No, you can't.
I tried to be slick, and she was like, everybody gets one, you greedy little. Everybody gets one picture. You're trying to get an extra picture, which is exactly what I was trying to do. I wasn't conflicted. I just wanted 2 pictures.
But do you know what? Some people in the lover sessions got 2. And I think that's bullshit.
Yeah, it's unfair. If you have a parent with you, you get 2 pictures. One with your parent, one without them.
Oh, so you're saying I should bring my dad. Okay.
Yeah, I was like, why am I getting punished for not being a minor? Hello?
I'm going to pretend to be 18.
I smoked a cigarette before I came here. Should I be jailed for that?
I'm a baby. I'm just a child. Can I please have 2 pictures, Taylor?
That was another thing I was worried about at the session because I was like such a nicotine addict at that moment. I was like, can I smoke at Taylor's house? And I asked them, I was like, can I bring my cigarettes? They were like, no. You can't bring your cigarettes on the bus to Taylor Swift's house. Everything. I was scanning Anna Delvey. I was like, what can I get? Like, can you imagine me sitting there in the Nashville patio smoking Andrea Swift,
I would pay money for that. Hey, Taylor, do you want some? Do you want a hit? And she's like, yeah.
Also, how gross would it be if I smelled like cigarettes meeting Taylor? Like, what was I don't know what I was thinking. Nothing.
You were thinking, you were addicted to the cigarettes. That's what you were thinking. I've been there. I've done that. I've been there. I've done that.
Yeah. It's everything. It's everything to you. Yep. Don't Blame Me, 6 out of 10. I really think this is a nothing song.
10 out of 10. 10 out of 10.
Why are we even doing this? This was another one that I heard and was like, this is amazing. I remember thinking, this is her Hosier Take Me to Church. Okay. Literally, that's what I compared it to.
Why
Literally.
are you always saying this? Like, this is her magnum opus, and it's like the whole time it's delicate.
Today was a fairy tale. Delicate. I give Delicate a 9. It's a great song. It's just overplayed.
9 out of 10.
Definitely the most enduring hit.
Love it. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I
me
used
too.
to love it, and then I kind of fell out of love with it a little bit. But 9 out of 10. I think I think I should revisit it and really reflect. So
Max Martin rarely misses. He rarely misses. Look what you made me do. 10 across the board.
20
11,
out of 10.
12, 30, 50,
20.
60, everything. So it goes 10 out of 10.
20 out of 10. Do you
And
know
I forgot
what?
it.
Do you know the people that, like, I understand not having a song be your favorite or being like, it's not my favorite, whatever. But, like, people hate So It Goes.
They say
and I'm
it's
like,
a flop.
what are you
And
hearing?
they're dumb. They're really
What are you
stupid.
You
They're
did
dumb
a
people.
number on me, but honestly, baby, who's counting? Like, what is
1,
not clicking about that?
2, 3.
And all
Hello.
the pieces
Scratches
fall.
down your back. People died.
So It Goes. Oh my god, I
Literally.
can't talk about
People
it. It's literally one of the greatest songs ever made. I don't get it. I do not understand it.
8 out of 10.
For me, it is a lowly 7. Yes.
Okay. That's actually higher than I thought you were going to give it. Is anything going to dip below that for you? That's interesting on this record. It's your favorite one after all.
It is my favorite
Getaway
one.
Car, 10 out of 10. Jack Antonoff,
A million
the man
out
that
of
you
10.
are. The man that you
The
are.
man that you are.
The
This,
things
I
that
would
you
maintain.
do.
Getaway Car, I mean, obviously we have Cruel Summer, but Getaway Car is, like, to me, the Jack and Taylor song. I'm not saying it's better.
Yes.
I'm just
this
saying
and Out
it's
of the
very,
Woods to me.
Yeah, quintessential. Like, this is the sound that they
You know what it is?
together.
It's the go, go, go. That's very Jack Antonoff.
Go. I love
That's
it.
very
It's just,
Bleachers-esque.
Like, it's like, just like almost cinematic, and I appreciate that. And I think Taylor really gravitates to that because she likes larger than life kind of songs. It just works, baby. I'm clapping.
And it works for the metaphor that she's done. I mean, it was just Belize. It's architecture. They architected this. They built it. King of My Heart, -4 out of 10.
I give it an 8. I like it. Is this the end of all the endings?
No, it isn't.
It was for me. So write that down.
Goodbye. You were bigger than the whole sky.
My broken bones are mending with
Mine
all
are
these nights we're spending
forever,
up on the roof with a schoolgirl crush, drinking beer out of plastic cups.
Not. Goodbye. Goodbye. Dancing with Our Hands Tied. I'm going to give it a 6 for the normal version, and I'm going to give it a 7 for the acoustic version.
Ooh, I love that. I agree that the acoustic version is better. Overall, I'm going to give it an 8.5. I do like it, but I do find it a little bit... It's all going to be high, baby. What do you think we're talking about?
Well, here comes one I don't think you like that much, and is one of my favorite Taylor Swift songs of all time.
You're wrong. I've come around.
Am I?
A long time ago. Where have you been? This man doesn't know me. Boots. You're wrong.
Boots. Okay, what do you give it?
9. I give it a 9.
Oh,
I think it's a solid 9.
Okay, Flash, back when you met me, your buzz cut and your
buzz cut, my hair bleached.
You know what
my favorite part in the song is? I'm spilling wine in the bathtub. You kiss my face and we're both
Everyone
drunk.
thinks
that they know us, but they know nothing about.
Oh, it's that pre-chorus is incredible. Like just the cadence of it, the way that it flows. Oof.
Yeah.
This is one of her sexiest songs to me. This is a very sexy song, and it just puts me in a mood. I remember walking down Fulton Street back to my apartment in the freezing cold with my coat. Chapped lips. I loved it. This is why we can't have nice things. I'm going to give it a 6.5.
I Want You Dead, by the way. 20 out of 10. 20 out of 10. 20 out of 10. This is why we can't have nice things. I was there that dark day, Seattle, night 1. Guess where I was? Tonsillitis on.
Dark day. It was a bright day for you once that came on.
Popcorn under my seat. Guitar.
You had popcorn?
I did. I wanted popcorn so bad. But
what was it like to have it? Was it good?
It was good.
Did you eat it when she was on stage?
No. See, that's the thing. I bought the huge.
I knew you wouldn't.
And I had 5 bites of it, and then it went under the seat, and it was forgotten about for the rest of the night.
And you got nervous. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I get nervous before Taylor comes on. I always do. I always like,
I get nervous. I get scared.
Call It What You Want. I'm giving it a 9.
This is probably. I think that this is looking at the set list, or not the set list, the track list right now. This is my least favorite song on Reputation, and as a result, it receives a lowly and humble 6.
Okay, well, you know that Reputation double-decker bus we were talking about earlier? If you wouldn't mind standing in front of it, getting hit by it, and crushed
and
to
it
death.
would be, and if a double-decker bus crashes into me, to die
I
by
would
your
like that
side
to happen to you.
ramp
I
would
would
be a
really like
heavenly
that.
way to
I
die.
think you should be dead. I'm giving Call It What You Want a 10 out of 10. New Year's, how can you say that Call It What You Want is your least favorite when New Year's Day is right there?
Because New Year's Day has time and place. Call it what you want, no time, no place. New Year's Day? Well, New Year's Day.
Call it what you
was
want
playing
every second Tuesday of the month. New Year's Day, one day a year.
Every second Tuesday of the
That's when
month.
it occurs. You know, it just you
Okay,
have to listen to it every once in a while.
all right. New Year's Day,
1 out of 10.
7.5.
I kind of like the piano, so I'll give it a 1. But everything else about it, flop. So that's our review. We'll get more into it in the Reputation Taylor's version episode because we're about to cross the 2-hour mark. So we can't get into it further than that. How did the critics respond to Reputation? Generally, not well. She was never going to get a fair assessment of this album. All the acclaim has come in hindsight. It's interesting how much of the criticism harped on the fact that the production would be dated and out of fashion, but most of it has really held up, in our opinion. Pitchfork gives it a 6.9. This is her lowest rated album by then. They rated Lover higher than this. Kill yourselves. Enough. And the review, when you read it, is not even that bad. So I'm like, who's coming? The score system, as you say, Madeline, is completely and totally, it's dumb. It never even matches what's actually written in the review. Interesting that her flop album was the one that caught their interest the most, though. Overall, I think this review is pretty fair and interesting. This is what they have to say about it. Look What You Made Me Do was closer to a red herring than a sign of things to come, a relief given how it neglected most of Swift's generational gifts. Reputation, her sixth album, isn't a tuneless vengeance tour. It's an aggressive, lascivious display of craftsmanship, one that makes 1989 sound like a pit stop on the way to Swift's full embrace of modern pop. Is that a 6.9 review?
Oh no, that's a 10, baby.
That's
10.0.
Just be honest.
If you're saying it's
cool to hate Taylor at this moment, that's why.
Calling
it was cool.
1989 a pit stop on the way to Reputation, then it should be a 10. I mean,
they
even
gave 1989 an 8.
As a Reputation #1 stan, even I can admit 1989 is a better pop record. So what are we talking about? These people
Where
are
did
dumb.
This come from?
Enough.
Dumb. Her vision of pop, one she realizes with the help of Max Martin and Shellback and man of the moment Jack Antonoff, is surprisingly maximal. Hair-raising bass drops, vacuum cleaner synths right out of a Flume single, stuttering trap percussion, cyborg backing choirs. Songs like Opener, Ready for It, and Don't Blame Me are glittering monsters held together by Swift's presence at their center. Her interest in hip-hop and R&B is most apparent in her voice, an instrument that's been stripped of its signature expressiveness. Her best performances throughout Reputation are defined by cadence and rhythm, not melody. She's cool, conversational, and detached. Reputation isn't the failure that seemed possible a month or two ago. It's full of bulletproof hooks and sticky turns of phrase, but in committing to a more conventional form of superstardom, Swift has de-emphasized the skill at the core of her genius. The album ends with New Year's Day, a spare acoustic epilogue for an album made using a lot of synths and computers. It's equal parts Lisa Loeb and Dashboard Confessional. I'm going to question her on that. And she conjures rich scenes with just a handful of lines. A hotel lobby strewn with party detritus, the silent backseat of a cab. I'm sorry. Was that not a glowing review?
That was a glowing review. So what are we talking about? What is 6.9?
Too. That was very well written. I thought that it picked up on all the nuances and intricacies of Reputation. Stop hating yourselves. Stop it.
Why don't you just admit that you love Reputation?
A 9.
Admit that you love Reputation.
Come on, just say it.
Give me an 8. I would even take 7.7. I'd be like, okay, that's fair.
That's good.
What is 6.9?
Not real. Not real. So the Consequence review said, I think this was a little bit more biting. Reputation doesn't improve past its initial singles, Fake, even if the chorus of Ready for It is one of the few vestiges of 1989 Taylor on the album. When Getaway Car is right there, you just didn't listen to the album. Elsewhere, Swift finds trouble. She raps, she adopts African-American vernacular English. Where does she do that?
I think there's only a couple of times, in Delicate when she says, maybe? Where you at? That's kind of I would say that's AAVE.
Okay,
I would say that is. I mean,
borderline.
Nobody is coming for her for these things. It's not that serious. Do you know what I mean? I think they're just saying as compared to what she was doing before. like doing country and like shit like that.
This is how they characterized it. I think this is a horrible example of what they're trying to say. I see how this is gonna go, she says on Ready for It, like another white woman who thoughtlessly put dat and doe in their Instagram captions, as though that was like a stone execution offense. For Swift, blackness can be tried on and discarded. Let's not forget how she capped off Reputation's rollout by having her lawyers sue bloggers and writers who called her a white supremacist. Another poor decision that was on par with letting her friend Ed Sheeran rap on Endgame alongside Future.
He's always doing that. Like,
he's unfortunately for everyone.
Let the ginger have his guitar and think that he's one of the boys, okay?
Let him embarrass himself.
He's always doing that.
You don't need to do it. He does it himself.
And everybody claps.
But I just thought this was the most bad faith review that I have ever read. I mean, if you want to make the argument that she uses AAVE on the record, sure, I'll accept that. But the fact that the overarching message of their review is that blackness can be tried on and discarded by Swift, I'm like, there are better examples of artists doing that. Why don't I point you in the direction of Ariana Grande? Why don't I point you in the direction of Miley Cyrus, who were all releasing around this time? Taylor's album is still, as Pitchfork noted, quintessentially Taylor Swift.
Yes, I completely agree. I think that they went in and they already had an opinion of Taylor Swift and they were looking for it and they found it. That's kind of what I think. That's
cherry
what I feel about that.
They cherry picked moments.
Yep.
So this is a New York Times review that I love. I really like this. Even though I don't know how to say this, current and pop. Au courant, post-Drake light soul noir or gothic but plain dramatists like Halsey and Selena Gomez doesn't necessarily play to Miss Swift's strengths. She barrels ahead here, finding ways to incorporate it into her arsenal and herself into it. Some things are lost, to be sure, but it turns out Miss Swift is an effective distiller of everyone else's pop ideas, as she was at charting her own path. This means a shift away from her signature melodies to an approach that uses her voice as an accent piece or a seasoning. They said this in Pitchfork too. The difference between songs that are 24K Taylor and those that are merely Taylor plated. It means a continued de-emphasis, one that began on 1989, of the sorts of dense narratives that were so integral to her career. It means that on a few songs here, Miss Swift is doing something at least a little bit like rapping. Make no mistake, these are jarring propositions, and yet Miss Swift commits to them and thrives, an act of liberation from her past, and also a calculation about what the marketplace can bear. Really interesting here, how she's liberating herself and trying new things, but also being like, how far in the direction of the current genre sound that's trending can I go while still being myself? I thought that was an interesting insight. That's because almost all of these songs are the sum of very different parts. They move in different directions, one hard turn after the next. Guitars, when they're present, are generally distant in the mix. The kind of structural maximism is becoming a hallmark of pop-era Swift. I Did Something Bad has the energy of a revving motorcycle, and the first two singles both use harsh sounds and urgent build-up segments to theatrical bruising effect. In the beginning, she is indignant and bars, but by the end, she's practically cooing. So people did get it.
I think it's also interesting because I know that when people first heard Ready for It and a couple other songs on the record as well where she's singing, it's like, oh my god, she's rapping. And it's like she's
spitting.
But the
I don't know if she's
is,
rapping.
It sounds good. And like you would not think so that she could do it. I mean, in Ready for It, she's melodically talking. Yes, I will say that
she is.
So, but rapping is a far stretch, but it's like it's almost there, and nobody can say she sounds bad because she doesn't, because she's doing it white
in her own way. She's doing it. She's white Taylor way. I mean, when you think about the concept of Taylor rapping, it immediately conjures a cringe, and to me, none of the examples of her rapping on Reputation induce a cringe.
No,
even on Endgame, the person that comes away looking bad on Endgame is Ed Sheeran, not Taylor Swift.
Right.
Maybe that was her plot.
She has such a way with delivery that it just lands. I mean, you think about the way that she says, and I bury hatchets, but I keep maps of where I put them. Like that is the closest she comes to actually rapping. But it's because of the melodic way that she does it. It just lands so well. She has a punctuation that is, I mean, it's the same thing that Nicki Minaj does. She delivers. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. So it's the performance of the way that it's given to us. But yeah, I agree with you.
It's like an art, and I think a lot of people don't respect rap, but it's like if you don't know what it is and like how to do it, and like that some people cannot physically do it,
which is why Taylor didn't do it. This is why she knows. She knows. She was like, what can I take from rapping and how can I incorporate that into my work rather than trying to jack someone else's swag, which she didn't do. So after this, Taylor wins Song of the Year with Little Big Town at the CMAs for Better Man. Deserved. We clapped, we cheered. This is when she's canceled and everyone hates her, according to her. She posts a video of her celebrating this on TV while she's in her hotel room for SNL. I believe it's also around this time she visits the Reputation pop-up shop in New York, which I went to. It was so cool. There was a Look What You Made Me Do throne to sit on that you could take pictures with, all of the merch, and she met fans there. It was super cool. That was really fun. It was also like 5 minutes from my house, and I only went once, and I only bought this sweater that I'm wearing now. I was broke college student, so I couldn't buy any more, but if I could go back then, tell myself what I know now, I would have said, snap it all up, girly. You'll never see this again. Yeah. Get it all in every size. Then we get the SNL performance. And what's crazy is this is our very first televised performance of the Reputation era. The promo pics for this were so good. The SNL photos are always so good. She's wearing that sparkly hood. Do you remember?
Oh, yeah.
Brava. Bellissimo. This is one of the only times that I can see her being visibly nervous, like really, really very nervous in her demeanor, not just her voice. She seems a bit tentative and unsure. Perhaps this is because she opened with Ready For It, a song that really is kind of out of her comfort zone performance-wise. So different from her, requires a character performance. No smiles and giggles here. It was all bad. It was okay. I thought this was a good performance. It wasn't great, but it wasn't excellent.
I remember this performance, and what I remember most is that I was curious how she was going to perform it because it is so different. And I remember the choreography and frankly being gagged. That's what I remember. I don't think
the shoulders were shouldering.
Yep.
She was popping.
Never been a Ready For It performance that did make me burst into tears. So I don't know. I'm not like a good judger. I'm just like, it was amazing. It was incredible.
No,
10 out of 10.
It wasn't bad at all. It wasn't bad. But yeah, I mean, I think great performances on SNL by Taylor Swift are few and far between. Let me tell you, there's one really good one, and all the other ones are just kind of borderline. The All Too Well one is good, and everything else, cricket. We were very curious to see what song she was going to do, because at this point she hadn't performed Look What You Made Me Do, and it seemed natural that she would perform that, but she didn't, and I wonder why. Taylor had kind of, I think, been ashamed of Look What You Made Me Do for a period of time. She was kind of embarrassed by it, and I think she was a bit afraid to commit to the bit. But she did Ready For It, and it gagged. Then she did Call It What You Want acoustic on the guitar. She fumbles the bridge a little bit. We love the snake hoodie. There's a string arrangement too. It's cute. It's not bad. Do you have a thought on that performance?
No. I have no thought. Whatever. There she is.
It exists.
Yep.
There she is. This also begins the trend of her wearing a hoodie and sweatshorts for all of her public performances in 2017. Later that week, she performs New Year's Day on The Tonight Show for Jimmy Fallon's mom, who had just passed away, I think. She did it in honor of her memory. He had some connection to the song that she wasn't planning to perform on his show, but she did it anyway as a favor to him. This was really sweet, and she ran off to hug him really tight afterwards. Good person, Taylor Swift.
You know what? Go figure. Go figure.
Noted good person.
Noted good person. We love it. We clap, we cheer.
On November 13th, the Reputation Stadium Tour is announced with Ticketmaster, of course. Just North America at first, but she later adds UK, Ireland shows, and more American dates because of demand. They announced the Verified Fan program, which ended up actually being a serve. There was much speculation about whether or not she would actually be able to fill those stadiums, with many rooting on her demise, and how wrong they were.
Sluts and whores.
That went on
bitches.
Until literally the first night of tour.
Oh, yeah.
Literally, like, they kept being like, it's gonna flop, she can't do stadiums.
Right.
Well,
and
she was doing stadiums since Speak Now, since Fearless. She did it in Gillette Stadium on her first headlining tour. Shut up. Shut the hell up.
And she was like less famous then. So it's like, what are we talking about?
Way less.
Yeah. What are we talking about?
On November 14th, Endgame is sent to radio as the official third single from Reputation. In my opinion, this was a misstep, and it flopped too. Barely cracked the top 20. We should have just gone straight into Delicate.
They didn't do it right. They flopped.
It shouldn't have been done at all.
It could have been number one. It could have been number one worldwide.
It couldn't
but
have.
They didn't know what they were doing.
Never in any circumstance.
I want you to die because you're never gonna get it. Only I understand what's being secretly told to me in the Rosetta Stone.
And just one person make a song go number one? I don't think so. Well, actually, you might have.
Give me the space, the room, and I can make it happen.
Will convert the masses. You're getting on stage. You're Tammy Faye Baker. You're preaching. So we also get the behind the scenes of Delicate for AT&T now. We love to see it. We get 2 paparazzi pictures, and this gives us a grand total of 5 sightings of her this year. She goes to a steakhouse in a big black coat, and she arrives at the AT&T Now album release party where she meets a bunch of fans. She's wearing a very ugly cheetah print sweater and a red satin bomber jacket. I did not think this was cute.
It wasn't great. That wasn't
Reputation candids. There weren't that many of them. Sometimes they served, more often. The Bleachella looks were a lot more Reputation than the actual Reputation looks, if you think about it. But what can I say? So at this point, Reputation still is not on streaming. December 1st, it impacts streaming. So let's talk about the commercial success of Reputation. It hits number 1 on the Hot 100 with 1.238 million copies sold in the first week and roughly 700,000 on the first day. This made Taylor the first artist to have 4 consecutive albums sell more than 1 million copies in the first week since they even started tracking chart data. Despite being released in November, it was also the best-selling album of the year. Flop era. My career was over. I was scared. Okay.
I have no comment.
Well,
no comment. The numbers speak. The numbers speak.
Its streaming debut was good, not great. Obviously, she had held it off for 3 weeks, so everybody I think that wanted to hear it and needed to hear it desperately had heard it by then. I also think that she was punished by Spotify and not pushed as hard for withholding. The Spotify CEO literally said that he would be doing this to non-cooperative artists in 2016. In the first week, only 8 songs from Reputation featured in the Spotify Global Top 200. Look What You Made Me Do, Ready For It, Gorgeous, Endgame, I Did Something Bad, Don't Blame Me, Delicate, and Call It What You Want. Interesting that the early top streamers that weren't pre-releases were I Did Something Bad, Don't Blame Me, and Delicate. Interesting.
They were the ones that everybody hated. They were like, what is this white Delicate?
Could these be
Meanwhile, she was going, I love my turkey so much. Meet me at the bar.
Gobble, gobble, gobble. I love to take drugs. It was the number 3 album on Spotify behind Divide by Ed Sheeran and Michael Bublé with 55 million streams. So it kind of flopped on streaming, but that was to be expected. December 6th. Yeah, I mean, what did we think was going to happen with that, really? December 6th, Taylor is featured as a Person of the Year in The Silence Breakers, honoring the women who spoke up about sexual harassment and the Me Too movement throughout the year. They cite her defiant trial testimony as the impetus for her inclusion, and she gave what is probably her only actual interview of the year by saying, I figured that if he would be brazen enough to assault me under these risky circumstances, imagine what he might do to a vulnerable young artist if given the chance. Like the 5 women gathered at that echoing soundstage in San Francisco, and like all of the dozens, then hundreds and millions of women who came forward with their own stories of harassment, she was done feeling intimidated. Actors and writers and journalists, dishwashers and fruit pickers alike, they'd had enough. What had manifested as shame exploded into outrage. Fear became fury. When I testified, I had already had to watch this man's attorney bully, badger, and harass my team, including my mother. I was angry. And the portraits for the shoot were really gorgeous. She's in a black, double-breasted, crushed velvet coat with excellent makeup for the cover. And there's a side profile, simple black tee for her solo shot. This was received extremely poorly. Again, this was not received well. It was like, what's this doing here? She wasn't really sexually assaulted. And it's so funny that like people were using wokeness to smack Taylor down about things that actually were bad that happened to her, that you would agree were bad if they happened to anyone else. But because it's Taylor Swift, it wasn't bad enough. They called it the groping trial. They wouldn't even call it the sexual assault trial, as if it wasn't serious enough to be taken as so. Haters.
This was definitely during a time where it's like, you know, there was a double Taylor Swift standard for feminism. I think even among like a lot of women who would purport themselves to be some of like the biggest like pop culture feminists, it was just like, well, it's Taylor Swift, so I don't really care. And
she doesn't matter. She doesn't matter.
Yeah, it was crazy. I looking back on it. Yeah, looking back on
intersectionality actually, unfortunately for you, also includes the rich famous people. That's the point.
Yeah,
that is the point. That's really the point.
Looking back on it, it was like really, really upsetting and like frustrating to see. And if I was Taylor, I think that would have driven me absolutely crazy. And so I'm very surprised that she kept a sense of aplomb. She really did.
Well,
she was very.
That's our girl.
That's our girl.
That's our snake.
That's our snake.
That's the snake. Then let's talk about the Reputation magazines. The poems here are embarrassing. The magazines themselves are cool. Lots of BTS shots and photos of her cats with handwritten lyrics. We do get the iconic quote from Why She Disappeared. In the death of her reputation, she felt truly alive. Definitely the sister to She Lost Him, but she found herself, and somehow that was everything. The other poem is If You're Anything Like Me. These are literally painful to me to read. No amount of friends at 25 will fill the empty lunch tables of your past. Okay, that's served.
My favorite lyric from any of the Taylor poems is may your heart remain breakable but never by the same hand twice.
Oh, that was good.
Yeah, I like that one. But
they're
overall,
all like little zingers that are just put together. They don't make a poem.
Because listen, she's a songwriter. That's what she does. A song is a zing. And she can't be zinging in her, with her quill and her Edgar Allan Poe.
No.
She's not doing that.
No poetry, please.
No.
A Harvard professor was interviewed about this and was very nicely like, nice try, girl, but what is this? This is not a poem. It's writing by someone who writes.
It's something for the girls. It's something for the girlies.
It really
it's like,
is for the girls.
You have a sleepover, and the theme is creativity. And your friend brings in a poem, and you all go, oh my God, Taylor.
Yes.
Oh, I loved it. Oh, it was beautiful.
That was gorgeous.
Yeah, but it's like on the world
keep it to
stage?
yourself.
Yeah.
No, not for everyone else.
Yeah.
On December 1st, we get her very first concert or live set of performances, including the very first performance of Look What You Made Me Do. This was long overdue. It's at iHeartRadio in LA. I remember there being a lot of speculation as to whether she would play any old songs or not. But she actually did. We thought that she might not. I personally was like, she's only going to sing Reputation songs. Thank God she did. We have Ready For It, opener, excellent. There's a little opening intro segment that I love. The snake video from Instagram. Then we get the iPhone ringtone and the old Taylor introduction to Look What You Made Me Do. I thought this was a nicely put together promo performance. And what I remember clearly about them is how nervous and uncomfortable she seemed. I think she also looked different, and she was definitely hiding a bit in these like oversized clothes. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that, just to be clear, but it is something that I noticed and I think contributed to her stage presence at the time. Her use of playback in Look What You Made Me Do was a flop. The chorus needs to be louder, and she didn't really commit to the old Taylor bit. She seemed a bit embarrassed by it, and she would go on to further murder that on tour by having Tiffany Haddish say it. Don't be embarrassed.
That's really interesting because I always wondered why she did that. Like, why did you have Tiffany Haddish do? Because she's like, oh, Taylor can't come to the phone right now. I was like,
she was nervous.
Were you really that embarrassed? But the fans were clapping and cheering. So I don't understand.
But the public was mocking and screaming.
She really, and I think it's just like evidence of like, no matter how like confident and on top of the world she seems, she is still that person. One person says something is bad and it completely ruins her day. She still
needs to be
that
liked.
girly. But it's very to think about this and to think about the way that she delivers this line on the Eras tour is like, we won.
Oh, we won. We so won. We literally won so hard.
Yeah.
Another iconic moment from these shows was our first footage of Taylor kissing a turkey in the crowd while watching Ed Sheeran. We were all so happy then. It was strange.
It's almost hard to imagine just how terrible things would soon become.
And it has to be said, we were clapping and cheering at the time. She had just been telling us, I love my London boy. And we said, yes, the hell you do.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing about me. And I think also you, like when she says, I love this man, we usually go, okay.
I love him. Yeah.
Okay.
I love him too.
I clap and I cheer.
Even when it was Maddie Healy, we were like, okay, we're not going to love him, but we're going to let you rock.
We were so anti. Like, that's the thing. We were so anti. But when she was like, I love you, and like all this other stuff, we were like, all right. I'll let you rock.
Okay. We literally were like, okay, well, you know what? We just have to accept this. And we've been through it before. That's the important thing. We've weathered many a storm of a man. Like, this is what I mean about Tavis. I mean, whatever. When he leaves, we move on. I don't know if Madeline will, but I will.
Oh, well, listen, here's the thing.
You're Tavis for fun.
I don't want to get into it. I'm going to do a discussion post on Patreon about this exact thing. I haven't done it yet, but I will, so I won't get into it too much. But, I mean, we're talking.
Sign up to the Patreon. There you go. There's patreon.com/reptologist.
Yes.
You need to be there.
Yes.
And the set list for these performances was Ready For It, Blank Space, Shake It Off, I Don't Want to Live Forever, Endgame if Ed Sheeran was performing there, and if not, she would do Gorgeous, and Look What You Made Me Do. December 8th, Joe and Taylor go out somewhere. Taylor's wearing a fabulous plaid coat, and Joe famously drags her headfirst fearless into her New York City apartment. Do you remember this video of him literally yanking her out of the car and sprinting in? It's like, is that necessary?
He was so
Is it
dramatic.
necessary?
You're
getting pictured regardless.
Right. You've never seen her do that with any other boyfriend. She's never really done that. And it's like, why is he so evil and demented?
It's like, I have one question for you. First of all, how dare you?
First of all, how dare you?
Yeah, he is just intergalactic flop. I mean, come on. Speaking of intergalactic flops, then we get her British Vogue cover. Why did they rob her of her eyebrows? She looks like Yzma. Why was that done to her?
I will say this about the British Vogue. I will say this. I don't like the shoot overall. I do really like the cover. And I like Taylor remade. I just like the way it looks. And I like how, you know what I mean? I like the thing that I don't even know what to dress. I don't know what it is. It's an object
it's a garment.
that's draped upon her. And she's holding it. And I like the over the shoulder. I like the hair. The makeup, I like the fierce lip. The eyebrows, I don't know. But I like it, kind of. I do like the idea of the cover, okay? You see what I'm saying?
I hate it.
The rest of the shoot, I could take it or leave it. It could disappear tomorrow.
I like her on the bed. You know the one where she's bejeweled and sitting and thinking?
Yep.
I like that one.
I clicked the link. Yeah, I saw that one, and I was like,
that one
right.
I enjoy.
Yeah,
I enjoy that one.
Yeah.
In lieu of an interview, she provides them with her flop poems, and I'm sure these flew off the shelves. Ugly pictures and bad poems. Who can resist?
I'm sure these flew off the shelves. I did not read that part of the outline. I did not read that far.
So I shocked you.
She did not provide her. Are you kidding me?
She did. Instead of an interview, she gave them why she disappeared. She was if you're anything like me, to go in Vogue. And the fact that the editor in chief of Vogue saw this and went, "This should go in our magazine." Did it save the publishing industry? Did you get the job? Did you get the man?
Did you get the girl? Did you have the cruel summer?
What was it? What was it? I mean, and we said yes. We said yes. Why not? Just don't do an interview at all.
Yeah.
Don't give them a flop
I don't know
poem.
why we allowed this to transpire for as long as we did. I guess we were committed to the bit as well. Like, she's doing Reputation. There will be no explanation.
It was interesting. It was fun. It was really exciting. It was all different.
It was fun. Yeah, at first we were
girls.
clapping. By the end of it, I was saying, can we please have a quote? Can we please have a quote?
Now.
Yeah.
Get on the mic. So it's December 13th, her birthday. Reputation Stadium Tour goes on sale. What else would Taylor do on her birthday other than money, please?
Money, please.
Money, please. It just makes sense on her 28th birthday. And Taylor, of course, at one of the events where she was performing, mentions that she had a great year. And there is a vicious think piece that comes out about how actually she wasn't allowed to have a good year. The title of this article is called "Shut Up, Taylor Swift. Everyone Hated 2017" from feminist publication Jezebel. Speak for yourself. I like 2017. Great year.
I also enjoyed 2017. I mean, I think, wait until they met 2020. All right, that's what I have to say to you, Jezebel. Wait until you meet.
You 3 years. And 2017 is the year of a lifetime.
Taylor Swift had a good year that year too. Yeah, she put out Folklore.
Everyone else loses. She wins.
And she wins.
Sadly,
it's the voodoo. It's the voodoo.
Sadly for them, actually.
Yep.
So December 15th, this was flop hour, apparently, because this is when the Swift Life was launched. To be honest, I did not use this app.
Nor did I.
Signed up and I immediately said, I'm too old for this. Mm-hmm. I was 21. I was a legal adult. I was like, I can't do this. The most iconic thing that came from this was Denise, friend of the pod, saying Swifties are stronger than the US Marines. And some old person that had signed up for the Swift Life going absolutely ape about her saying that. It was iconic. There were Taymojis.
Oh,
yes, there were. She herself, Taylor Swift herself, barely used this. Barely.
So I was always confused about, like, what was the true purpose of the Swift Life? Like, why did that exist?
It was supposed to be a social network, and this was at the time when all the celebs had their own apps. We had Kim Kardashian in Hollywood, but that was a game. Why didn't she just come out with a game? Taylor Swift game? I would have played.
Oh, I would have played that hard.
Social networking app. Can you think of anything worse than only being on a platform surrounded by Swifties exclusively?
No.
Goodbye.
I mean, aren't we kind of on that on Discord?
But it's curated.
But it's curated. and we
Oh,
kick them off when they act up. If you unironically posted a picture that you drew of Taylor and Joe and their soon child scrolling Tumblr.com, you're out. Get
Goodbye.
out.
You're gone.
That's how we
You're
win.
rejected.
That's how we win.
If you can't pass the vibe check, you gotta hate outside the club. That's just how it is. Sorry. But yeah, so then she flies to Miami to film the Endgame music video, and we get clips of her doing the dance on the yacht. And that was the gag. That was really the gag. Thank you, TMZ.
That was the gag. Thank you, TMZ.
That was the gag. We loved it.
Thank you.
And Taylor spends Christmas and New Year's Eve in LA with her family and the turkey. And that's it.
And that's it.
Brava! Bellissimo!
We've
gotten through it.
We did it, Joe.
We did it.
We did it, Joe. We did it, Joe.
Did it. These were the years that we dreaded the most. And I was going to say it's smooth sailing from here, but we got lovers soon. And I have a feeling that episode's going to be pretty long too.
Did we ever do a loverology?
No.
You're kidding. We've never spoken at length about the lover record?
We have never spoken at length about, we have only shaded it in passing. Now we do that all the time for free. In public, in private, anywhere. But we've never gone into depth. So, girls, that might be the coup, actually.
Oh, it's going to be the coup.
That's going to be the coup.
I mean, I think this one's pretty good. I think we cooed.
We cooed this one, too. I mean, we're done with the nonsense part, at least. Like, the real bad nonsense. We're done. No more think pieces about her being a neo-Nazi. That's the last time that happens. That's done. Finished. If you loved this episode, which I know that you did, you need to go to patreon.com/Revologist. We deserve it. Money please from us, please. Money please. Money please. Come shaking. Come. It's fun. You get an episode every single week. You get access to the Discord. It's a key. It's a key and it's the coup. It's the coup and then it's the key.
It's the key. It's the wig. It's the boot. You do get the girl. You do get the job. You do get the cruel summer, etc., etc.
You don't have to read why she disappeared. You don't have to. It's not part of the curriculum.
No.
No, only serves and slays. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we will catch you later, whenever that next episode may be.